Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
All right, the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross season has come to a close. But what hasn't come to a close is the Vital MX MotoXpod show presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. We're here and still going strong. We have a great guest lineup tonight, plenty to talk about. Tonight we have the 1997 AMA 250 Supercross champ and two-time AMA Pro Motocross champion Jeff Emig coming on. It'll be his MotoXpod show debut. Who else we got? We have Troy Lee Designs, Red Bull, Gas Pierce Brown, and we have the newest member of Mad Parts Kawasaki for outdoors, John Short. All those guys are coming on. I'm sure we'll talk about the Supercross finals, what happened at Salt Lake City, the new champs, some drama that happened. We'll get into all our segments. Who knows what all we're going to get into. But first of all, in studio, as always, ever reliable, no matter how much trash we talk, Scotty Thompson. What's up, Scotty?
Bro, that was so backhanded. What the hell?
What do you mean, man?
We crap on this guy and try to get him to leave, and he just keeps on showing up. Yeah, I'm just so detrimental to all of this.
Nobody said you're detrimental, man. Quit! Don't start crying already.
I'm not.
Don't start.
I'm pretty sure I
crying.
have a smile on my face. I did.
Yeah, but it's a smile that's hiding tears. Tears.
No, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. I actually was kind of, usually it's like, all right, I got to go to the show, but I was kind of retrospectively thinking about it. It's like, man, I really do enjoy having, being able to do this and talking to these people. And it's just like, I think if I were to stop doing it, it would be like this little piece is missing. So, glad to be here.
A little part of you would die inside.
Yeah.
Also in studio, once again, Jeremy Huddleston. What's up, dude?
Not much. Thanks for having me back. I've been kind of missing it, not going to lie.
See?
Nice.
I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I think we're probably going to do another show from here next week, and then a couple after that I'll be out in California, so I'll do those from the Vital MX Studios, we'll call it. But, we're going to have some fun tonight. Want to tell you guys about our presenting sponsor, Racetech, and I know everybody knows that Racetech does suspension work. That's what they're well known for, but they also do world-class engine building. Building a world-class engine requires a combination of state-of-the-art equipment and experienced, knowledgeable technicians, and Racetech provides quality, precision engine services using the best equipment and processes in the industry. Developing the best combination of porting, cam timing, mapping, and related components to build world-class engines is a painstaking process. Visit racetech.com. Tons of information there. Help you out if you got some motor work you want done. They just supply parts to lots of different engine builders that you wouldn't even realize it. It's just kind of kept quiet, but they are presenting parts and components to many, many teams and engine builders. And of course, the suspension is second to none. Racetech.com, find your local service center and get involved with those guys. Scotty, with how are you liking your bike right now? Do you need some suspension work? You gonna hit up Racetech?
So I'm actually about probably 20 or so pounds more than I was when I stopped riding.
Yeah, you look like you're pregnant.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But I definitely, like, last time I was riding, now that I'm starting to kind of get a little bit of speed back and starting to feel a little more comfortable, I'm noticing the bike's not really reacting like I want it to. It's kind of spongy and soft. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to use the Racetech. I always use the Racetech like spec adjustments.
Yep.
Like what clicks, and they always
tons of information on Racetech.com.
I don't know if I'm quite at where I can go and get it all completely done, but I'll at least follow their guides. For sure.
Yeah. And Jeremy, we're going to talk about Yamaha here in a few minutes, but you got a new bike.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Blue Crew. It took a lot of thinking. I've been on the KTMs for 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Everyone keeps raving about this Yamaha. Let's go give it a try. I went and bought it, went and rode it over the weekend. And, man, I was really impressed. It took a little bit because the aluminum frame, the steel frame, and air forks, everything was just different. And I'll tell you what, Rob, I guess about 4 or 5 laps into it, I'm like, hey, I think I can make this work really good.
Yeah.
Did you just set the sag and a couple clickers and go?
I didn't even set the sag.
Oh, really? You just went?
I just went. And I was like, I sat on the bike. I was like, it feels.
Race Tech suggests you set the sag.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, you got to break it in too.
Yeah, sure. Nice. Well, we'll talk about Yamaha here in a little bit, but we're going to get into the Race Tech Open discussion. As I said, Salt Lake City's over. The season's over. New champions have been crowned. Jet Lawrence did it, rookie season. The third rookie ever to win the 450, the Premier Class Championship. Super impressive. Vial gets it done, and RJ Hampshire, the old man, he gets it done. Pretty excited about that. I was a little torn with that group because I like Levi a lot.
Yeah,
I like RJ.
I don't think there wasn't a wrong answer.
No.
It's
I wanted RJ to do it, but then I was sitting there thinking man, Mitch hasn't had a championship in a while.
Dude,
I was like,
I know, and it's been weeks. We're like, hey, they're going to get the 300th win. We're going to get the 300th, and it just hasn't.
Yeah, that was
happened.
pretty gutting for Pro Circuit as a whole.
Sure.
Yeah, they had 3 or 4 different people leading They had 3 people leading a championship at some point this year, and didn't get it. That's crazy.
But it's just overall, we're going to talk about the season as a whole, what we thought about it towards the end of the show. But when you look at how impressive it is that Jet as a rookie wins, and we kind of knew, most of us knew, a pretty good chance he could do it. But then Vial, who wasn't very good last year, comes in and wins this year, and RJ finally gets it done. When you look at just those things, the champions that are this year, Jeremy, it's just pretty impressive how the year ended up. A lot of it, just not all completely expected necessarily. Vial wasn't expected.
No.
And it's just kind of like a relief for RJ. So I think when we look back, it's pretty cool how the champions that won their championships ended up finishing. It's pretty exciting.
oh yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, think about RJ. He's been trying at this for 8-10 years.
9.
This is
Nine?
ninth season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was now or never, in my opinion. I mean, especially being a factory guy. Even though, he is top 3, but these guys are paying these guys, a lot of money to win the championship.
Anything just from Salt Lake City stand out to either of you? Is anything just kind of?
Are we talking about this? We were still talking about the season as a whole. Or you want to switch?
Let's
to
just go to Salt Lake City as a whole, because I mean, obviously, we know who the champions are.
Well, I did. Before we do that, I did kind of have a question.
Post-race
show. So at the beginning of the year, we were looking at the season overall. We were kind of not that anybody was 100% on this, but one of the things that we talked about was, are people choosing coasts based off of which one Hayden's going to? Because just it was a topic in the media and the industry, and now looking back, it's that's. Did I know, even though he had a good season, he had 3 wins. He ended up being just as close to the points chase as Levi was to RJ. It was I think it ended up being 4 or 5 points. So he was right there. But does his season warrant that hype and that talk that there was at the beginning of the season for him?
I mean, I think so. But
Yeah.
if you look about everybody that's in front of Vial in that aspect, it was all Blue Crew. And if he had the championship locked up, where he was at, why push it to get closer to a teammate? That's kind of what my thought about it is. But if you think about Deegan, though, he came in a little slow, started doing all this building.
Yeah.
And now we kind of see, okay, going into next year's Supercross, we're he is a title favorite, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's a title favorite for sure. Whether the hype...
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, he was kind of the expectations were him to come in.
He's going to dominate.
Yeah, 5, 6 wins.
Yeah, I didn't really expect him to dominate exactly. So I think the Deegan fans are pretty ravenous.
Right.
So that the hype might have been a little exaggerated. Even he says it, man. It's my second year.
Yeah.
Last year, we got some podiums.
Well, and last year
he's still learning.
Last year was a jump too. He wasn't even. This was supposed to be his first year this year.
So yeah, I think it might have been a little overhyped, not based off his potential, but just based off what he had done. He's still learning. So
that's kind of. I just thought it was interesting.
A couple things that stood out the weather delay kind of was interesting. Like clear the stadium, evacuate the stadium, but I think that actually helped. I feel like a little bit of moisture made the track better.
So
got a little more traction.
Yeah, I was doing stuff.
Cody Shock might not think so.
I was doing stuff in the afternoon, early evening, so I didn't get home till about like 8 o'clock or so. So the weather delay actually worked out perfect.
Okay.
Because I got to I came in right at the end of the 450 heats, and then I got to see that, and then I got to I was hoping I wasn't gonna jump right into like one of the mains when I came to watch it. But when I went back and rewatched the heat races and stuff, I was like, oh my god, that track looked so bad because I came in pretty much right as the rain delay happened. So
yeah,
I was like, dude, that track was roached before.
It's very Vegas-y, small, kind of small college football stadium, crappy dirt.
Don't get me
just
started.
Not good.
Don't get me started on it being the ultimate round. Don't get me started.
You know what? I'll take it away from it too, though. But Chase Exon finally put it together.
Yeah,
that's what stood out for me. Even though
he's been getting better every week.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So
finally, just getting that I guess fastest time qualifying, then getting the heat race win, and then backing up in the main. I mean, I know Jed, he rode to just do what he had to do, but he still had Cooper on him. He had Webb on him. He had Anderson that was coming for a minute there. Then, the last 5 minutes kind of got crazy for him, but yeah, I mean. I think Sexton kind of checked a couple boxes for himself personally and for the team and, for us as fans.
I agree. Yeah, I'm really excited about outdoors, which we'll talk about next week more. But with Chase, I think he's where he needs to be at the end of the Supercross season. It started slow, like you said. It was a struggle. He's figuring things out. He's had some really good interviews with our guy, Lewis Phillips, and they've become pretty tight, and they talk. And Chase is very confident coming into outdoors, like extremely confident.
That's my comment. Is like I'm a Chase guy. Wanted to see him do good. Better late than never in Supercross season. But you've got to use that momentum and the boost that you got from getting that win at the end of the season. You've got to take that into Paula.
We'll talk more about Chase in the X-Brand Forum Check-In. That he's actually the topic of the X-Brand Forum Check-In. I want to tell you about our second, and there's been some changes in our sponsors a little bit and some of our segments. So I want to tell you once again about our presenting sponsor, Yamaha Motor USA. A reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades. The YZ story is 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha's new 50th anniversary edition YZs pay tribute to a half-century of championship-winning performance wrapped in stunning retro style. So check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com. I keep telling you guys how much I like my bike. I'm getting more and more comfortable with it. Jeremy, you just got yours. You like it so far. You're going to get some more time on it. But I want to mention just briefly, because Yamaha also has a bicycle division. They loaned me one of their YDX Moro 07 e-bikes. This thing is a fantastic mountain bike. I've been letting my dad ride it a lot because I want it to help him get in shape, and it has motivated him to go ride. He's having more fun riding it because he really wasn't able to ride a regular bike without it being a big struggle. But he gets on this e-bike, he can kind of put it on the standard mode and go ride and just have a good time, ride with our nephews, and it's getting him some exercise. But I spent a bunch of time on it in the last couple of days. I've rode it other times throughout the year since I've had it, but yesterday I spent almost 2 hours on it. I did 22 miles on trails. This thing is a freaking blast, guys. You got to check them out at YamahaBicycles.com. I'm going to write a story about it soon, but it's amazing. Maxxis tires and RockShox front forks and rear shocks, Shimano derailleurs and components. There's a lot of cool details that I'll talk about when I write the story on the bike. But if you guys are looking for an e-bike, Yamaha has a great line. The one I have is kind of at the higher end. It's pretty high price range. It's like $6,400, but they have some that are a little less. I will tell you guys, just because battery life comes up all the time on these things. So in the hour and 47 minutes I rode it yesterday, I kept it in the low mode, which is econo, and then I put it in standard. I put it in boost a couple times when I was on the highway, like going up. I rode it from my house to the trails, but it only used half the battery in 2 hours. So it's not bad.
No.
And if you leave it on econo, you get a lot more. But I feel like you could get 4 or 5 hours out of this thing and have a good time. Just if you guys are interested in e-bikes, check them out. You're smiling up there.
Oh, yeah, the chat just be in the chat.
Okay.
So when you talk about this e-bike,
yep.
how does it feel heavy when you're riding it?
It's definitely heavy compared to a normal like acoustic bike. If you have it turned on, no, it's not. You don't feel it because you have the assist. It's a pedal assist bike, right? So
that's a term now, acoustic bike.
I don't know if it actually is a term, but that's what we use.
That's a thing now. I was like, that's a thing now. That's funny.
I've been saying it. I've heard it before. So regular bikes acoustic. These are electric. Yeah.
Because the reason why I ask is not a lot of people know a lot about these e-bikes.
Yeah.
I mean, you got these kids that parents that have bukus of money, and some of these older people that have bukus of money, they can just go buy a $10,000 bike and no problem. But everyone that's curious and interested in it, there's not that much information, or not people are giving you that much information. Just kind of ask the people that you run across that has one. So
it doesn't feel heavy at all when it's turned on and you're riding it, because it's actually very agile, and you're going like I'm riding it in the woods of East Texas. So it's different than when you ride it in rocks and terrain, I'm sure, but riding it over all the roots and stuff, you give it a little bit of pedal and it pulls, man, and you don't feel the weight because of it pulling, the little pulling power you have depending on what setting you have on it. Today, I rode it completely turned off because I rode with my buddy Steve, who owns 6 Feet Under, and he's just starting to get in shape, and he wasn't really able to keep up. So I just turned it off and rode it, and it felt really heavy.
Gotcha.
But it was an extra workout. Like I was just like, all right, I'll just ride
and some
like
people
this.
might like that.
Yeah. And it can be ridden turned off. It's just you feel the weight, you feel a little bit more resistance. What's going on in the chat?
They said you got to put a card into the spoke so it makes noise.
No, it actually has a little. I listen to music anyway, man. I was freaking jamming to like Strung Out and Tool and Iron Maiden, so I don't care what it sounds like.
Because me and the wife are looking for something. Because my kids have got all Stasics now, and keeping up with them on foot is pretty rough.
Sure. I want to remind you guys that Vital MX does have a fantasy league. It just ended for Supercross, but it's still a go for outdoors. So please sign up. Join the MotoXpod Show League. The winner for Salt Lake City was Britzman. He won the league for that round. I forgot the name of the guy for Denver last week. It was Josh Aubrey. And overall, the Vital username is Jock, Jock. He won the whole thing in the MotoXpod Show League. So congratulations to all you guys. I will get the prizes going. So sign up for that. MotoXpodShow@gmail.com if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, etc. But Yamaha Motor USA now is our top 5. Troll Training has we've lost Troll Training, unfortunately. We love Troll Training, but they're going to do something else with some of their advertising dollars as they try to grow the brand. So the Yamaha Motor USA top 5. And you know what? That's wrong, right?
Yeah.
We're doing highs and lows. Yamaha Motor USA highs and lows. It's a new week. And I want to start doing these at the beginning because usually when we do them at the end, this was actually a Lewis Phillips suggestion, so he gets the credit for this, is sometimes we talk about topics in our highs and lows that we've already talked about during the show. So let's talk about them early, and then we can maybe expand on them as the show goes on. So I want to go to you first, Scotty. What are your Yamaha Motor USA highs and lows?
I guess I'll just be basic and say highs was that RJ got his championship. He was one of the few times that I was able to go do interviews with you at like press day and stuff. He was one of the ones that I got to talk to, and he was cool. So, that's not the only reason, but it was, he's been going at it for a long time. So to see him kind of win the championship was good, I guess. And one of the lows would be that we didn't get to see that anything like Osborne and Savachi in like 2017.
Okay.
Like I was hoping like it just like
Levi didn't kill RJ.
Well, I didn't want anybody to kill anybody, but I just thought that I would have hoped that they would have had to make some decisions,
Sure.
like been not like
little more excitement.
Yeah, like the two people being between them, and just like I kept thinking that he was going to catch him, and then like every time I looked, like they were literally in the exact, like they kept the exact distance, like the whole time, and so yeah, I guess that would be one of the reasons that I would like to see more. Another one of my lows would be that I didn't get to ride this weekend, but the highs were that it was Mother's Day, and I got to see my mama, so that was cool.
Okay,
I got you.
Jeremy.
Well, I got my new bike.
Yep.
Finally got to ride it.
Okay.
Let's see here. I finally got to watch a full episode of Supercross.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, we got kids. We got them all to bed early and got to watch the full thing. And that was kind of like you. I was kind of like hoping something, what kind of would happen with RJ and Kitchen. But you know what? I think RJ was like, hey, I'm going to match you every lap, so you can't get that I guess that
Yeah, I think
mental
that's
edge.
Yeah.
pretty much.
You can't get that mental edge to come and catch me.
Yeah.
And I guess that's really bad on my highs, but on the lows, the rain, man, it just won't stop.
Yeah. It's just that time of year.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it was kind of funny. Like I was watching that race and I was like, something's gonna happen. Like something's gonna happen. And then Jordan Smith crashed into Hayden. I was like, oh, something happened.
yeah. Okay, so mine, you mentioned RJ win the championship. Phil Nicoletti at the press conference,
Yeah.
and then letting him do a hot lap. I obviously wasn't there to see it, but I love that. Adam Cianciarulo's goodbye. They made a kind of a big deal out of it this weekend. We didn't get to really see it, but it's just great that they did it. Ken Roxon wearing an Adam Cianciarulo jersey was pretty cool. Being it's a monster jersey. He's a Red Bull athlete, and Kenny was like, I don't care, man. I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
supporting my guy.
The way that the rain delay allowed the broadcast to be able to show Griffin do the Stacey Grace. That was cool. It was just a cool little moment for Supercross. I thought it was interesting.
Lows also, I put rain delay, the rain here, but the one I really want to talk about, and we're running low on time. We got 9 minutes. Is the Hunter Lawrence, Jason Anderson situation. So that's a topipic I think we should get into quickly.
Do we need to call TJ? He's on the chat.
No, we don't need to call. We don't have time for that. But there was fines and warnings. I think Hunter was the one that got fined, from what I understand. My biggest issue with this, I've heard other people talk about it, other media guys. Some don't really have that much of a problem with Jason's pass on him. Some people didn't have a problem with Hunter's retaliation. I have a problem with the retaliation because it was a lap down. That's where the biggest problem is for me. I do feel like in the past, Bogle's gotten DQ'd for it. Mm-hmm. Years ago, it wasn't a lap down, but there was Chad Reed had a retaliation on Kennard that got black flag.
Oh, I remember that.
This was, you cannot be a lap down and interfere with a race like that. That's like winners take all movie bullshit. I like Hunter. I strongly disagree with his reaction. I don't like it. I do think he should have been disqualified. It would have had an effect on the points overall. Maybe that doesn't even matter to him in the end. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that there's a precedence that, okay, yeah, I got fined a few $100, whatever they fined him. I don't know, but I was a lap down and I ran. We could have that next year. Then somebody could be like, oh, the championship leader is coming around. I'm a lap down. I'm just going to take him out. What's the big deal? I get fined. It's just, that was crossing a line. I don't like it, guys.
Yeah. Well, I would say TJ was saying his argument was that Hunter should if there'd been anybody else, like when Bogle did it, he got disqualified and all that. And he's saying why didn't Hunter get it? That was his argument. The one thing, the difference between Bogle straight up just lawn darted. Barsha. Yeah. Hunter just kind of he didn't get out of down. He just didn't get out of the way.
But he's a lap down, dude. You just can't do that.
You really think that he should have gotten disqualified for the race?
I think because it was so intentional. We get lappers that do the same thing unintentionally.
But
they need to pay more attention.
What's the rule that says that a lapper getting in the way is a direct disqualification?
This was a purpose,
This is where it's hard for even the AMA, where you have to look at each incident because there is intent, and it's not really. It's very hard to be black and white. If you impede the leaders, you get disqualified. Well, then you have issues with lappers. It has to be looked at individually, and it was done intentionally.
Yeah,
that you have to take that into account. I think you can't. Yeah, I don't think something like this can be black and white.
So, I think it's kind of like the same, similar to how a judicial system would work. This is first time Hunter's done anything in the I don't know if he did anything in the younger class, but in the premier class he hasn't had an incident like this.
They've had talks with him and Jason already. They've been at it for weeks.
Okay,
but not in this.
But he hasn't had a stormy cloud yet.
I don't think so. No, not
he
really.
hasn't done anything where it's been noted, documented that he's made an offense.
Dude, you can't.
So if he does something like that again, now that he's had this on his record, then yeah, say, hey, you're disqualified. You're out.
I don't think Bogle had. I mean, I know Bogle took him down, Barsha down, but still, you're a lap down, and your intention. And Jason was probably going to catch Coop, like he was going to get on the podium. And it wasn't just like a lapper just barely slowed him down. He intentionally made him go wide and slow down. I didn't like it, man. I mean, I didn't like it.
Okay, let me ask.
I think it's a major problem.
Is the move that Anderson made worth some form of retaliation?
I mean, you can argue that.
Sure, if you can stay on the lead lap with him and you want to run him hard the next time, then
that's not the argument.
Sure, absolutely.
But did Anderson have something coming?
Yeah.
After that move,
I think,
maybe for outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe for outdoors.
Hunter just said, I'm not waiting for that.
Even if Hunter had been able to catch, say, theoretically catch back up and catch him, then definitely. I mean, but not when you're a lap down. No, you're out of the race now, dude.
And I'm not saying what Hunter did was right.
Yeah.
I think like he did it. He got fined. And then,
Anderson was like 2 bike lengths away from Cooper or Webb on this one.
He was
right there. You can see it. You can see it in the.
I understand Anderson took him out of the race in general. But then to go a lap down and wait on him practically and look over and be like, okay, here we go. I'm going to come hit you on the inside and ruin your race. And I think it's case by case, but I think it should have been a black flag. And I bet you TJ could say the same.
TJ's saying the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think case by case, and that's why
he doesn't like. That's what TJ doesn't like is the fact that they just like oh, well, this time we're going to do this and this time we're going to do that. Like maybe there's not consistency.
There, in some regards, there's not, but. First of all, how many times has this kind of thing happened, right? Where a guy a lap down has done something. I can only think of really the 2 with Bogle. Because the
Chiz and Reed when
okay.
Was this back like
that was 10, not 09? 09?
Yeah, but
it was 09.
Yeah, and I guess that probably was somewhat intentional. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was intentional.
I mean, that was a long time ago, but yeah, Chiz probably should have been DQ'd for that.
I think it's just hard to so. You wouldn't have.
Again, I don't know how you prove that was intentional. This one was clearly
he said
intentional.
He said it was intentional.
Chiz didn't say it was intentional for a while, though.
No. Hunter said.
Yeah, so that has to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, I just think that there is, and it needs more definition. That the gray area is like when a couple weeks ago when Clayson went down and in the rhythm section, obviously not intentional, and it caused Cooper like you can't even, that wasn't even a discussion.
That's just racing. Yeah.
That's just racing. Yeah. So, but it's like, and obviously Hunter crossed the line, but it's like I guess my question would be is where can we really define the line on that? Oops.
Oops. Yeah, I don't know where that line is. What we ought to ask our next guest about it. We'll see what he thinks about it. But he's going to be brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight Seat Foam. Don't forget, they have complete seats for the Talaria and the Super 73 and covers for the Sur-Ron and Segway. They strive to ship orders within 36 hours. So visit gutsracing.com. Put your order in today. Let them know that the MotoXpod show sent you. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us from Troy Lee Designs, Red Bull Gas, Pierce Brown. What's up, PB?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. So we were just talking about the Hunter Lawrence, Jason Anderson incident and the fine and the warnings and
shocker. We were talking about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you even want to put your 2 cents in, but like, I feel if you're a lap down and you impede the leaders, doesn't matter if it's retaliation for something that just happened. Like if you're a lap down and you do that intentionally, that's a DQ.
Well, I remember back when, I don't know what year it was, maybe 09. Chisholm was teammates with James Stewart, and he did that to Chad.
Yep.
And then he got black flagged for it. I don't know. I mean, I didn't watch it live. I don't really know too much about like the situation, but I mean, I don't know. I'm scared to put my 2 cents in here, but I'm on Jason's side. I mean, I don't think that was cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, like in the moment, tensions are high, but yeah.
Once you're a lap down, man, you're out of the race. You got to retaliate later. Like, you know, if you run it in on somebody and you're probably going to expect retaliation, but you're not expecting retaliation the next lap when you're passing them as a lapper. I just that's
What if he had like let Jason Anderson around him, and then was trying to unlap himself and then did something? Would that have been
no,
okay?
You're a lap down, bro. You're out. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. At that point, it's personal. I mean, you can tell there was like serious tension there. I mean, I'm sure Hunter. I don't know. It probably went back to the incident that Jet had with Jason. It was probably for I don't know what it was for. It's hard for me to speculate, but all I know is it was personal.
It's been building for sure, but yeah, I think a fine's a little too light. I like Hunter a lot. But I don't like what he did. I get it. Like you said, what I'm looking for. Like, you're angry, right? The emotions are running high, all that, but still, man, you got to know I'm a lap down. He literally, like, to me, Jason was going to catch Cooper Webb and he cost him a podium probably. And I just think I think that was too far, but we'll move on. We'll talk about Pierce Brown. 4th overall in the season, 1 freaking point behind Cody Schock. I believe in the press conference you said like you weren't that worried about 3rd. Now that we're a few days past it, like, how do you feel about 4th versus 3rd? How do you feel about your season as a whole?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't really care too much about 3rd versus 4th. It was, I don't know. For me, I don't get paid bonuses for 2nd or 3rd. It's just a championship. So, I was just going out there for basically to gain more experience and momentum into outdoors in the next season. Obviously I'd say last 3 rounds weren't ideal. I had a crash early in Nashville, put me back. I had to go through the pack, and then Philly crashed last lap. Was in a really good spot, but I don't know. Stuff happens. Last weekend, somehow like lap 2, I was coming out of the long rhythm into that left-hander before the tunnel jump. And, I landed the off. My hand slips off. I go straight into the tough block and then fall over. So that was a bummer. I was a little bit angry about that, but, pick myself up in last, and I get to the pack. I see the 2 laps to go on the pit board, and who do I see? It's Cody Schock, and I did everything I could to catch up to him. Yeah. And I got on him, but I couldn't make a move. There wasn't enough time. I don't know. I wanted the position bad, but I don't know. To be a point down definitely sucks, but Cody had a really good season. Overall, my season, I thought it was the first half was good. I was upset about the mistakes I made the last couple rounds, like I just said, but I think how I managed the first half of the series was good. Wasn't great, but after about the halfway mark, I was like, dude, I mean, I've been putting solid results in. I need to go for podiums and wins. This is what I get paid for. I don't get paid for 4th. So that mentality kind of switched. It was more just kind of go for it, and made some mistakes, but I don't know, stuff happens. I mean, I put myself in a lot of situations that I wouldn't change, like I'm the type to always go for it, and I think my instincts are 80% right, just 20% of the time it puts me on the ground. So that's been a fine line to find, but overall, I mean, I'm healthy, going into outdoors in a good spot, and I haven't been able to come into outdoors like I am now in a while, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about outdoors in a minute, but a couple years, I think it was last year, right? At the preseason press conference, I asked you a question that you weren't thrilled about, and I kind of said, like, your season the previous year, it wasn't what I expected, is kind of what I was saying. I felt you rode better than your results showed, and I feel like this season's the same thing. 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, your first 6 results were really good, but then at the end, like you said, the issues you had at the end, it kind of the season ends up not really reflecting on how good you were actually riding, and that has to be a little frustrating. But it almost sounds like you're able to just put that behind you, and like you rode well.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating for sure. I mean, those first 6 rounds, I rode solid, all 15 minutes of the main, like for those 6 main, and like you said, it just didn't reflect because I didn't put myself in like a good position off the start. But I don't know. And in reality, go back in time. I mean, I should have just stayed in the same mindset and just kind of waited for that opportunity. But I wanted to make it happen and just push in areas I shouldn't have. I don't know. It was definitely a long season. It was cool to make it out healthy, but like I definitely expected more. I mean, go back to the A1 press conference the year before last. I'm like, dude, I thought I rode good all season. Like I had a couple podiums. Like I led a race for 15 out of 18 laps. Like I was in a good spot. And then hearing that, it was, I know where your side of it was. I was just arrogant and
no, it's fine.
A little cocky at the time. But once I got back down to earth, I'm like, dude, I should be up there. My riding's good, if not better than everybody around me. I just need to put myself in that spot early, you know?
Yeah, Pierce, you mentioned that it was, a long season, a lot of ups and downs. Is obviously one of the biggest discussions this year was the track and track conditions, track layout, whoops, all the above. Is the run around that you guys had to do to get the bike set up for practice and qualifying, and then they get it set up for the heat race, and then it was going to be completely different at the night show. Did that add to a lot of, I'm air quoting here, making it a long season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was kind of, I was chasing my tail for a lot of the season. The format they had for us, I think it was the first 2 or 3 rounds where 450s went first and then our heats were second. I didn't realize how freaking bad the track got in that short amount of time. I mean, we've never gone after the 450s before. So that was, I mean, hard to get used to. Even in qualifying, we were second. So we were on like a rough track the first time we set our freaking foot on the dirt. So yeah, that was hard to get used to. About 3-4 rounds to go, I was at the point where I'm like, dude, I've been changing so much stuff, and like we're going back to base and doing this and doing that. Like I don't think we have enough time to search. I kind of just went back to base and what I thought worked early in the season, and then just left it there. Like after qualifying, if I was frustrated with the bike, I would just leave it, like almost deal with it, because I knew in the night show it'd be good, but when the track was fresh, it was kind of harder to ride,
Right.
Definitely.
So coming into the season, did you, call me ignorant, but did y'all get the new frame at Troy Design on the 250F?
We got the option to run it. I didn't choose it. I don't think Ryder did either, but we did get the option to run it.
Okay. Are they going to start kind of making that? Are you guys still going to have the option for outdoors?
I mean, I don't believe so. Like it's a week away, and we did a bunch of testing the last 2 days, and that wasn't brought up. So yeah, I think my decision earlier in the year was kind of just set for the whole season, Supercross and outdoors.
Oh, I gotcha. So you're finally coming into outdoors. You're going to be pretty healthy. What kind of expectation do you have on yourself?
I think, I mean, I know I could do good. I'm excited. Like I said, I haven't been healthy into outdoors really ever. So, for me, it's definitely motivation from, coming off of the last couple of Supercross rounds, how those ended up. I want to mix it up in front with the guys. I mean, it's going to be another long season, but I expect to be up there in the mix, and in the fight all 11 rounds, whether that be podium wins, top fives. I mean, I wouldn't be happy with anything worse than a top 5. Let's just put it at that. But my goals are a lot higher.
Yeah, I like that. I like that your goals are higher. And you were talking about the bike, and over the last couple seasons, last year and this year, how much do you feel the bike's improved for you since the beginning of 23? You just said you were doing some outdoor testing, but just overall, I feel like the bike was a little bit of a struggle getting used to it last year. Is it quite a bit better? Maybe minimally better?
Yeah, no, it's quite a bit better. I mean, we couldn't really figure it out last year. It was tough, but this year, across the board of the Austrian brands, we went to the smaller fork, and that was actually something I've been asking for a while. So for me, it was refreshing to finally get the chance, whether it be better or worse. I just wanted to see if it was better, because that's what I was on all through amateurs and liked my bike all the way up until I went pro. I struggled the first couple seasons, so getting those back were good. And ever since then, I mean, I'm stoked. I definitely wasn't in the best mind state like after the outdoor season last year. I mean, it was a struggle, and I wasn't doing good. I didn't feel like the bike was where it should be, but already it's I'd say 3 steps ahead from where we ended off last season. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, obviously we haven't dropped the gate yet, so you always know how things could go. Like after round 1, people end up chasing their tail. But right now I'm in a good spot, so I'm excited.
The forks thing kind of brought me back to it does seem like the KTM group as a whole, until this season, has not been super open to trying a lot of different things. And then for some reason this year, it seems like they have just decided, okay, we're going to listen to our riders a little bit more, maybe try some more options. Does it feel that way to you at all? Or maybe I'm imagining this a little bit. I know with the KTM side, specifically, it's been a big difference this year with Chase coming over.
No, I think you're 100% right. It's been a change for the better. I know, I don't want to say too much, but I know Cooper was asking for a lot last season, and they were shutting it down, but everything he was kind of asking for, we're getting this year. I don't know if that's out of spite or what, but for me, it's for the better, so I'm stoked.
Yeah, I think he somewhat reacted to that in the press conference when Chase was talking about the bike. I think he said something that they caught on mic, but nobody could really hear what he said, but it kind of sounds like he was saying, like, yeah, that's what I said, or...
Yeah, I know. It was funny. It was funny. I think Chase said, we actually, like, figured out that the bike in stock form is really good. And then Coop made a freaking smart-ass comment. It was funny. I love Coop.
Coop's the best. Yes, he's great. Go ahead, Scotty.
Hey, Pierce, we were talking about, the team and how, like, the whole Austrian trilogy, as I'll call it, the Gas, Husky, and KTM. It was cool to see RJ in the position to win the championship. Obviously, your race didn't turn out quite like expected, but was there any discussion of, like, would you have helped? What could you have done?
Scotty. Can't
would
answer
you
that.
If the team hadn't said anything, just you as a fan or just being a teammate in the sense of RJ, would you have maybe thought about doing something, or at least be in the position to where you're holding, like, he wouldn't have gotten out of the way if Levi was behind him.
Slowed him down a little bit.
Yeah, like, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I wouldn't have, if there was, like, an opportunity to do anything to, obviously, like, Levi's my boy. I would never do anything to, like, sacrifice his race or season or championship. I mean, I was bummed for him, but obviously it was cool to see RJ win too. But before the race, Roger came and sat me and Ryder down and was like, if you guys are around Tom or RJ, just don't do anything stupid. Like, pretty much, like, stay away from them at all costs. So, it was weird. I've never kind of been in that position where there was team orders. It was kind of hard to manage the race in the main early, because I was behind Tom before I fell, and I was like, well, I mean, I don't feel like his pace is fast enough to keep the dude behind me from passing me. Like, I could pass him, but I shouldn't, and then I ended up falling. So I guess it worked out for the better for Tom. But no, yeah, it was there was words discussed with the team beforehand.
Yes, it's you're fast enough. You don't need enemies.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I hadn't thought about, like, if, let's say there were team orders.
I'm not saying take somebody out.
Roger coming in and having that discussion, that gets in the back of your mind a little bit, Pierce, and then it does kind of throw off your your normal mindset, your normal race mindset a little bit. Like, oh, I got to pay attention to this now. It could take you off your game a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it did for sure. I like early in the race, like right off of the start, I went for the double off of the start, and Levi was ahead of me, and he rolled it, and I came so close. I haven't told him yet. He'll probably laugh when I tell him, but I came so close to clipping him and landing on him, and I was like, dude, like that could have been so bad. And I've been boys with Levi for a while, and I would have lost a lot of sleep if
it was planned.
If that actually happened. So after that, I was like, oh, dude, like this is squirrely. Like there's 2 championships going on around here. Like I need to chill. And yeah, it was kind of hard to focus after that. Like I was rattled after that incident. Then I got behind Tom, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do. And then I ended up falling.
Yeah, we like half the class, so it's like, all right, who can I pass and who not? Yeah.
Pierce Brown brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. In Nashville, I walked into the pro circuit tent, and I told Levi, I was like, dude, just back down, bro. Let the old man have it. Come on, we love RJ. Give him one. And he just looked at me. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so we know RJ's been grinding it out for like 9 years and just day in, day out grinding. And I know you've had a couple seasons where things haven't gone your way, you've been hurt or getting a bad finishes. Are you kind of like making this kind of like a stepping stone year? Like, hey, I want to grind it out. I'm going to try to, everybody wants to stay healthy, right? But if you can make it through this year, 80% healthy throughout the year, does that change your mindset going into 2025?
Well, yeah, obviously it does. I mean, you see a bunch of guys. I mean, like RJ as somebody, he's been having like multiple solid seasons on top of each other, Supercross and outdoors. And I mean, overall, it's just built him into a championship contender over the years. And I don't feel like you could really get that experience and knowledge by missing rounds if you're injured. Like once you're injured, everybody knows, even other riders, like you lose a lot of confidence, and that's the last thing you need on a gate of 40 other dudes trying to kill you, So
yeah, I mean, I know
the goal for me is just to build, like I've had some rough seasons, flashes of brilliance, but yeah, after I gain some confidence, it seems like something happened. So for me, I just want to really grow this year. I mean, not putting myself out of this outdoor title, but I would love to just be a podium guy throughout the whole year. Like that would make me, I'd say, a different racer coming into 25.
Yeah, and I think the 250 class is really stacked right now. There's a lot of talent in that class. So it's going to be a dogfight. And honestly, I hear what you're saying. Like a podium is what you want to be, but like a top 5 or 6 is pretty freaking stellar with that group of guys.
There's going to be so many like 2.8s,
if everybody stays healthy,
4.7s, 7.3s. Like it's going to be nuts.
I can't wait for this 250 season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it last year. There was a bunch of times like Levi would go 4-1 for a podium, and then the next round I'd be battling him for 11th, and then he's killing it the round after. I'm like, dude, like what is going on? Everybody's so over the place, but everybody's so fast right now. It's just down to the start. I mean, if you could start around 3 to 5 and you have fitness, like you're gonna be one of the guys. But I mean, you have to give yourself a chance. Yeah,
Pierce, we talked about your goals for the outdoor season. I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on like how's the strategy, like what tracks, these are the same tracks we go to every year. You know which ones you do well at, which ones are going to be difficult for bike setup or so on. Which ones how do you kind of strategize the season? Like what part are you going to push more, or like, hey, if I can just get through this round, do you get heat affected? Like if I do good in the beginning of the season, I can kind of hang on the end. Just kind of elaborate a little bit of your strategy for the outdoors.
I mean, it's going to be a long season. I know a lot of guys might funnel out like you're saying, like some people do really good the first three, then after that, once the heat comes into a factor, it's tough for them. So I don't really have any strategy set in stone. I would say just go out and see where I'm at Paula, and then after Paula, be better at Hangtown, and then be better at Colorado, and then so on and so forth. Because I'm the type of person that needs a string of races to gain momentum, and then after that, like I get the ball going. But it's easier for some guys to go out and win, and then go get eighth the next weekend, and then win 3 weeks later. You know, like I'm not one of those guys. I want to like string together podiums, and then hopefully those end up to moto wins and then an overall. I mean, that's the ideal goal.
Is there any track that you wouldn't be upset if y'all didn't have to go there?
Paula?
Besides Paula?
Did I say Paula? No, I mean, that one's nice because you save money on travel. At least I did. I live
Yeah, sure.
40 minutes from there. I was there yesterday and today. So, but yeah, Paula's gnarly. They definitely don't chill on the water there or anything else. But luckily, it's not the last round. Luckily, there's not two of them. I remember back in 22, the last round was like 115 degrees, and we cut the motos down. Like that was a day for sure. But SoCal's been nice, weather's been nice, so it should be mellow. I'm excited just to get the ball rolling. I wouldn't say I have any tracks that I don't like. I mean, oddly enough, I love Washougal. Some people don't. Millville's one of the best tracks on the circuit. Bud's Creek is just super fun track. There's a lot of tracks to look forward to, so I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be at Paula. I'll be watching you because I get to race it the next weekend for the regional. So I'll be watching for the fast lines.
Trying to look for some lines.
Yeah.
Nice. What class are you racing?
Plus 45, Pierce, old man class.
Are we gonna take the chip this year?
No, dude. I'm realistic, bro.
He's gonna get smoked. It's okay.
Yeah,
We love him. He's
I'm
gonna
like
be right.
a fast C rider, slow B rider. So I'm gonna get worked by all that fast AB riders. It's really I'm being realistic. All my friends like Kiefer is like, oh, you're not gonna do anything with that kind of attitude. But, like, dude, I'm not. I'm just being realistic. Like I'm gonna go out there. I've been riding a lot. I'm riding 3 days a week. I'm doing 15-minute motos, 20-minute motos. I feel like my stamina's good. But I know where my talent level is.
You still got to go send it, though. You can't just be like, oh, I'm not going to make it, not try. I'm
going to try, but I'm realistic. They're only taking 4 from that area, that region. So, it's just unlikely, Pierce. But, you know, it's all about the experience.
All about the experience. So, I'm hearing we're going to be at beer tent.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go hang out for sure. I'll go support my friends and do some interviews. And, maybe the beer tent. I like that idea. I also qualified in the Texas area, so I have a second chance at Lakewood like 3 weeks later. That one's really? A little more likely because they're taking 6, but still, again, I'm realistic.
Yeah, the West Coast is hard. I forget that they only took 4. I would not want to go back in time when I would have to go to the regionals. That was probably the most stressful time of the year for me. Like that was more stressful than Loretta's itself. I bet
it was for a guy like you. Like again, for me, my expectations are like, yeah, dude, I don't care. I mean, I care, but I kind of I just know I'm not being ridiculous about it. You know, I'm just going to go have fun, and that's what it's about.
Nice.
Couple more questions for you. I want to know, I think this is year 5 for you. What do you feel like you've improved on the most, and what still needs the most improvement?
I mean, earlier in the season, I was really consistent. That was something that I haven't really seen before, which was cool. It was a breath of fresh air. I mean, I was able to, for me, string together a good block of 6 races, and then after that, I made some mistakes, but my riding was still good. So that wasn't the issue. And it's nice not to have to really worry too much on being so far off that you don't know what to do. I mean, overall, I feel like I've improved a lot, in every area. Like, unfortunately, it hasn't showed yet, but I'm hoping to show it soon. But no, I think, year. I guess it would be 5.
Yeah.
At this point, everybody that I've grown up racing, like Levi, Joe, pretty much everybody but RJ and Smitty, that's the top of the class right now. And it's kind of cool. I mean, like every one of us has made it as far as we did. So for me, I have the confidence to know that I've beat these guys before, and I can do it. So confidence is probably the biggest thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got one more question for you. I got a would you rather question. All right, so would you rather have 2 more weeks of training for outdoors or to stay to the same system that we got kind of going on? But if you get 2 more additional weeks, you go into a hotter time of the year.
Yeah, that's give or take. I mean, what I'm thinking right now is we get done 2 weeks later in October, September, whatever it is. I need that time off at the end of the year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with just grinding it out and getting it done and over with. Maybe some people need that more time, but I'm in a good spot right now. So I'm just looking forward to SMX and then,
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer these questions. Next year, 25, your contract's up. 25, I've heard where it sounds like you're going. Can you talk about that at all?
I might get in trouble.
Okay.
But, might get in trouble. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for next year.
So can you tell us, is it a 1 or 2 year deal, even if you can't tell us where you're going, or can't say that either?
It's a 2-year deal.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes next year. I think that's going to be, sometimes changing teams in a new environment, and
He never said he was
and
changing
theoretically, you might even be changing coasts of where you live. That just could bring a whole new.
He never
atmosphere.
said he was changing teams.
I'm just saying theoretically.
He said he was looking
Scotty.
forward to 2025.
Scotty, I'm just saying theoretically, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing where. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do outdoors. But I think next year is going to be. It's a fresh start, or it could be a fresh start theoretically.
Stop, bro! You're terrible. You're a journalist.
All right. Okay. Let's close with this, so you don't have to say anything else. I got a listener email just asking us as a group in studio this question. I thought it'd be fun to ask you guys. What is your most embarrassing moment on a motorcycle throughout your whole life? Do you ever do anything just like loop it out? I don't know, loop it out in front of a chick or.
That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to specify a little bit more. I don't have any off the top of my head.
Okay, I don't know. I hadn't even thought about mine. I'm sure, for me, it was probably throwing a temper. Well, you know what? I got it right now. Throwing the temper tantrum, riding with the Kiefers out in the high des. That was my most embarrassing moment. Pierce, I threw my goggles down a mountain.
Crashing Bradshaw's bike in front of God and everybody wasn't.
Yeah, crashing Damon's. But no, the most embarrassing was definitely the Kiefer incident that he got on GoPro. And I had a legitimate temper tantrum on the side of a mountain out in the high des. I was just sat down on the side of the hill and I was like, I'm done. I'm not riding anymore. I can't do this. I can't do it. That would be my most embarrassing by far.
That's funny. I mean, I wouldn't say this is my most embarrassing. This is the only one that I can really think of off the top of my head. But this was a week before Salt Lake. We were at the test track, right? And it was me, Colt, Ryder, and then Cole Davies. And we just got done with a set of sprints. And I'm doing a roll up. I hit the whoops. And Cole comes onto the track about to T-bone me. But, I mean, Cole's a 16-year-old kid. He loves just messing with me, Ryder, and Colt. So I thought he was just gonna brake check me, then go on. But he kept on riding into me to the point where I clipped his back wheel coming out of the whoops, and I get super sketchy right off the track. And then after this, I see red. I lost all composure at this point. I go over to Cole, cuss him out, And then he rides off. I cuss him out again. And then Will's getting into it. He's like, dude, like, just relax. And then I get back to the truck and I'm pissed off. I don't even want to sit with anybody. So I'm on my tailgate. And then I cool down. I'm like, damn, like that was a little bit unnecessary. I went over and apologized to him. It was funny though. I mean, we can laugh about it now, but in the moment I was like, dude, why was I just such a hothead, you know?
It happens, man. Like you said, the emotions run wild when we do this sport sometimes. But this has been fun, Pierce. I really appreciate you jumping on here. Brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. But yeah, it's been a while since we've got to get you on. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Absolutely. We'll see you at Paula.
Sounds good. See you
All
guys.
right,
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Pierce Brown tonight, again, brought to you by Guts Racing. That was fun, man. That was good.
Yeah, I always liked Pierce. And he's a good interview, and I always watch for him to be like, he's like, hey, he could be this guy that's gonna change it up, you know, like he's gonna be, you know, the cherry on top of the battle Sunday, right? So
he's like right there.
yeah, and it's like, all right, you know, I always want to see him be the next guy in the mix, and I think he can do it, and I would like to see him have some good success this outdoors and carry that into 2025.
But yeah, he's going. Apparently, he's going to Star Yamaha.
Well, now you're going to say it.
Well, we already put it out there. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Lindsay posted it on an article. What do you call silly season article already? So
okay.
yeah, I think it's.
We're already talking silly season.
Well, he put something up on Vital MX, so it's out. So, but, I mean, Pierce didn't say it, but yeah, apparently he's going to Star. That's the word. So yeah, that should be
Cool to see what he'll have the power.
cool to see what he can do.
You think his personality will match out there?
Yeah, they got all kinds of personalities on that team. Like Jordan's pretty chill, and Hayden's kind of, you know.
I think he'd benefit a little bit from the battles of the race scenarios of riding against those guys all the time. I think that would help
different
him.
types of tracks because he'll have to move to the West Coast or East Coast.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of Levi, kind of like that chill vibe.
Yeah.
In a way. So
we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it might help him. You know, having those, as he said, battles every day, and
I mean, Levi did say he learned a lot from there. It just wasn't for him anymore.
right.
So.
X-Brand Forum Check-In. X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motorsports and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, including 2023 XC1 champion Craig DeLong, who won this past weekend, 2023 National Hare and Hound XC1 champion Dalton Shurey, 23 AMA National Enduro champion Grant Baylor. Basically what we're saying is if you race off-road, the most grueling conditions, X-Brand is the choice of champions, and it damn sure is a fantastic motocross goggle used by guys in Supercross, Motocross, and Motocross like Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Noren, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, Jerry Robin, and many more. Visit EKSbrand.com or go to your local dealership and ask for X-Brand, distributed through WPS. The X-Brand Forum Check-In. Could the Sexton era already be over? Posted by Pop Schmoke. Could we have already seen the grand opening and grand closing of Chase's championship run? People last year were talking about how once he won, he was going to go on a run and be the guy for a while until Jet got experience enough. Unfortunately for him, Jet had a say in the matter. Goes on and on. My answer is no, dude. Chase is not done. Chase is not happy with the beginning of Supercross season. He switched teams. Last year, he was the best guy in the 450 class, minus the washing of the front end over and over.
Which he hasn't done really this year.
He did it once, I think, this year.
He did it like once a day last year.
He's adjusting to a new bike, totally different style bike. It was a bigger change than he expected, clearly. He, from what I understand, is extremely confident coming into outdoors.
Good.
No, the Sexton era is not over.
I think it's just beginning.
We all know that I have a tendency to go with my emotions sometimes with picking riders more than facts and figures. And I'm picking Chase for the championship outdoors. I'm calling it right now.
Dude, don't do that.
Doing it now, man.
No, don't.
Okay, well, we can wait till next.
You're always wrong.
We can wait till next week.
Yeah.
No, you're going to
you want me to not say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, we learned this at Supercross. If we say Jet's going to win, then that's when it doesn't. It goes the other way. You can't pick Sexton.
Okay, well then John Short for the championship then.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I like it.
Yeah, I think Chase might have this bike figured out by round 3. If you're already saying he's liking it so much, stock form, I think by round 3, we'll see a different Chase.
Yeah.
Sensing he's already got it figured out.
Oh,
I think so too. I think that this, I would look at this not as this his bubbles popped or whatever the word was.
Is
but
the era over?
The era over. No, I think we're just in the, we're in the defining moments of his era. He had the little bit of attrition that he had to get through. He changed the team. That takes time. It doesn't always work like where Eli did, where he came over to Yamaha and then won a championship. It doesn't always go that way. So he's learning. I think that they're motivated
Still
more
young.
than ever. He's got plenty of time left. Isn't he the same?
23.
Is he the same age as his number, or is he older than that now?
23?
I think he's 20. Is he 24 now?
I think he's 24 now.
Yeah,
I'm not positive.
But still, he's got plenty of time left. He's already had accomplishments in both series. He's fine.
He's going to be a force. Yes, obviously Jet's going to be a force for a long time, but Chase is going to give him a hell of a run this year. More than last year.
I don't think Jet's going to go undefeated.
No,
not even close.
No, nope. I don't either. I think
it's kind of off topic, but is AP coming back?
Yes.
Okay. Is he? I know he's coming back, but is he going to be back for Paula?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't heard, so I don't know. I could.
You got an inside loop over there.
Source?
Man, I don't know. I called the whole Eli Tomac thing a month ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to get hurt again. Him and
in,
Coop. That
in
sucks.
Denver, both thumbs. It's crazy. But,
okay. Barnett clutches. Oh, you got more?
I was gonna say no. Chase has not ended his era.
No, definitely not. But that's kind of a fun topic. I should have got Lewis on for that because he would probably had a lot to
the
say.
Captain of the ship.
But Lewis doesn't want to come on the show anymore.
Oh, a bummer.
I'm joking. He gives me crap because I haven't asked him. But no. I thought about getting him on for this, but then
it has been a while. We should have him on. What if we had him on as a guest?
He said he would do it when I'm in California when you're not on.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That makes sense. When I said after how I said hi to him when y'all were on speakerphone earlier, and his response, I believe that.
I don't think he heard you.
I know. I'm just making jokes. Since heaven forbid we have fun here.
All right, Barnett clutches clutch performance of the night with 75 years of the week. Sorry. With 75 years of experience behind them, Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials exclusive to Barnett for maximum performance of durability. Get 10% off with promo code VITALMX, all caps, at barnettclutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. AP just said, "You best believe it, son," when I asked if he'll be at Paula. So let's see, are we going to podium?
It's like I got inside information.
Wait, what was the question?
I asked AP, "Will you be at Paula?" And he said, "You best believe it, son." Announcing, are we going to podium? Let's go.
Yeah.
That's super cool. He'll text back.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to ask you if you're going to be at Cooksy's barbecue at Paula.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know.
Doesn't sound like he was invited, Captain.
Yeah,
PD.
no, I don't know anything about it. I'll be at Paula for the race. I should be. I don't know if I'll be at the press conference because of when I think I'll be driving still. So yeah, I don't know. I think Friday where I'm doing like a mountain bike ride that Ulrich from Yamaha is trying to put on. So I don't know anything about this barbecue. So I haven't been invited. So I guess not.
Not on the list, bro.
Barnett clutches clutch performance of the week. Who you guys got before we get John Short on?
RJ.
Okay, RJ.
That's pretty clutch.
Just because he won the championship. That's like in his riding.
Oh, okay. If you don't like that,
I do. I'm just asking, bro.
I'll say Hayden. Like Hayden Hayden kind of got close to that. Almost was a thing. Like that. It was really close. A couple positions different, and Hayden would have won that title.
Lewis said that forum topic was blanking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I want to go with Justin Cooper. He finally put it together. Got on the podium.
Yeah, good one. All right.
I like it.
Okay. Let's see. AP said, "Gonna try and win that dang thing." Got on the bike about a month ago, and I'm feeling good.
Sweet.
That's real good.
That's a MotoXpod show exclusive right there.
Yeah.
I guess he switched to the 48s.
Yeah. Love me some AP.
Yeah.
Okay. So yours was
Justin Cooper.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna jump right into mine then, and mine is Jorge Prado. Jorge lost the points lead last week.
That was a good race.
To Geyser. This week he won the qualifier, both motos. Looked good. My guy Geyser made a couple mistakes. It kept him off the podium, but man,
It was
Hell of
cool
a
to
race.
see.
It was a really good race. It was fun to watch.
Him and guys that were pacing each other like crazy. That was awesome. I mean, those dudes kind of always do that. They get in a freight train and they just freaking haul.
It was just an exciting race. Like the MX2 class, Kaida Wolf kills himself with starts, but was, dude, him coming out of the corner doing that triple and just
I didn't finish
wheeling through the roller, the waves, as Paul Malin calls them.
It wouldn't be fair if I didn't make fun of you for calling it the lights class, but
I didn't say lights. I said
you said lights. You
I think
definitely
you did.
Did I really?
Yeah.
I haven't said lights class. That's super weird.
Well, okay, I had to point it out.
MX2.
Yeah, MX2. You definitely said lights, but it's okay.
Wow.
I say it too. It's fine.
I don't think I've said that in years. I don't know why. That's okay. I believe you, but
the little bit
MX2,
that I got to see of MX2
super. That freaks me out. now.
Yeah,
Play back the tape.
Okay, yeah. When I'm making the chapters, I'll show you.
MX2.
The little bit that I got to see of it, it was just like it was like a crazy battle. Like the people were cutting in and like it was cool.
It was good.
I'm gonna have to catch. I finally got it. It wasn't recording them at the beginning of the year. My Hulu wasn't, but now it is. So I'm definitely catching them.
I will say this about those guys: they will saw your front end off. They have no
Bro.
care, no care at all.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. I watched it a lot. I didn't get to watch it until like yesterday, and I watched some of it today, and I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, very
I
excited.
hadn't seen that track before. Was that a new track?
You know my history with MXGP is pretty narrow. So Lewis, you're listening. I don't know. I know it was Jorge's hometown. I heard that a lot.
I don't. Yeah,
So
I've followed the MXGP stuff the last couple of years. Not like religiously close, but I have seen enough.
I'm getting
to where,
better with it.
Where
Like that,
I don't. That track did not look familiar. That doesn't mean anything, but it didn't look familiar.
I agree because I was thinking the whole time like that looks like a lot of fun. It looked like it would be a fun track to ride. So I definitely don't know if it's a new one. Hopefully Lewis is still listening. He hasn't given up on us. But yeah, it was really exciting to watch. But Jorge is my Barnett clutch performance of the week.
Cool.
Not that I didn't really expect him to do well, but I think it looks like him and Geyser are going to go at it pretty heavy the rest of the year, and Hurlings is coming on. Hurlings came from pretty far back, and made a bunch of passes. So those guys are coming into form right now, and that series is getting exciting. And honestly, I'm more excited about watching GPs than the American AMA Nationals. Like I'm looking forward to our Nationals, but there's something about the GPs, man, that just every week those guys are, like you said, switching positions a lot, and it's just really, really exciting racing.
Yeah, their pace is nuts. Like they don't. There's no 5-second gap or anything like that. Yeah,
I can't wait to see some of those guys get here next year, and it's going to be exciting.
Sounds like there's a Euro wave coming.
Yeah.
Every time I think of or hear MXGP, I just keep thinking about Motocross Nations, and I'm just like, man, you guys are lucky that you guys get one discipline. Our guys only get 3 months on it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
different.
A good point. Yeah. That's a good point.
All right. Next guest of the night is brought to you by FXR, which is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, and performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brands to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Used by the Muck-Off FXR Club MX Yamaha team, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, and many more, FXR has core moto roots. So visit fxrracing.com or go to your local dealership to see the complete lineup of the 2024 lineup. Tonight, FXR brings us Mad Park Kawasaki's John Short. What's up, John?
How are we doing, guys?
We're doing good. How are you, man? Get the baby put to bed?
Yeah. Just put down a little dinner and just unwinding for the evening. So we get to bed pretty early around here nowadays with the baby. So
dad life, right? It's different.
Oh yeah.
No nights out at the bar anymore with taking Jaeger shots and all that. That's gone.
Yeah, I never did that anyway.
I know. I was joking.
Yeah, I gotta tighten up the schedule a little bit. I'll say that.
That's awesome. Okay, Lewis says that is a new track.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Hey, I'm not an
new
idiot.
track this past weekend in Spain. All right, so John, I want to start off at the beginning of the season. Off season, you're on a Kawasaki that you bought. You're training on this thing. The offer for beta came up to ride the beta to fill in for Colt. How did that opportunity come about to begin with?
Well, fast. if you kind of go a couple months before that, I had a wrist surgery right at the end of Supercross
Yep.
in 23,
And I really didn't even start riding Supercross until dang near December. So yeah, things weren't really coming together. So I was trying to make it happen, and I was actually testing my race bike the week before A1 on a Saturday and having a hard time with it, and was really frustrated. And it was crazy. I got a phone call that day at the test track. Yeah, I've never had a team call me in my life, but they called me that day, and I was like, I didn't ask any questions. I said, just get me a plane ticket. I'll be there. So those guys kind of, with open arms, brought me in, and it was a really cool experience. I'm really grateful for that opportunity.
I want to ask more about that, but first I want to go back. Was it like 2018 or something like that? We were having dinner and we were talking about like how to get teams to notice you. It only took 4 or 5 years, and there they go.
Yeah. It only took half a decade, but good things come in time, right?
Yeah. Well, you got the opportunity. You said it was really cool, but that bike, brand new bike, a lot of development still going on. So it had to be pretty difficult to jump from your fairly stock Kawasaki to a factory beta team that is trying to figure things out. Also, I would assume it just sent your program into a spiral of like how your training's going and just figuring the bike out. It probably, although it was a good opportunity, it was probably also very difficult.
Yeah, I went into it with an open mind for sure. I talked to Benny Bloss before I went out there, and he was like, man, the bike's actually good. Cause I really didn't know. I'd never ridden one, but, yeah, I kind of looked at it. I was like, you know what? It was only supposed to be a 2-week deal. And I was like, you know what? I'll meet some new people, et cetera, et cetera. And, I was blown away. I really at how, the amount of work those guys were putting into it, right? Like, Benny is a different stature guy than myself. And, so when I got there, you know, they got the bike starting to run pretty good after a while, went through some things, and we started to try and get the suspension working, you know, cause there's not another 5'6" Supercross racer who's ridden that dirt bike. Those guys really worked hard on it. And we finally started to get comfortable towards the end of the stint. But yeah, it was only supposed to be 2 weeks, and ended up being 8 weeks. And that was a really cool deal. I'd ride for him again if the opportunity ever came about.
Since it was only supposed to be 2 weeks, did they get you a practice bike in Texas right away, or how were you dealing with that?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So, like, they called me at Saturday, and Carlin Gardner, I think before I spoke to him on the phone, because I spoke to him on the phone, I got an email with a flight, and I go, wow, okay. And I hopped on the flight. We didn't talk money. We didn't talk about any of it. I just went out there and met the owner, and it's a really cool family group. But no, I stayed out in Paso Robles, California the entire time. So I was out there from January, basically New Year's, until Phoenix Supercross. I got my return ticket, went back to Texas instead of Paso Robles. So yeah, it was, we were out there a while. I rode at their test track, and I actually spent a handful of days on their 302 stroke, even, you know, when it rained and stuff. And yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun doing something different with new people. So
yeah, it's great. I'm glad you got that opportunity.
I tell you, you know, it's in my entire career, I've never been hired to ride a motorcycle, except for like maybe with a bonus structure or something like that. But to just go, hey, it kind of felt like a job a little bit, you know. So it was cool. I showed up to the track. You know, there's a whole team of guys, and at the races, my only focus was to do my job, and so I could see how being a factory racer full time would be a pretty killer deal.
Yes. So did getting that regular paycheck, like a real paycheck coming in like that, did that change your mindset at all, and like how you handled business at the track?
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, I wasn't at home. You know, of course, I missed my family and stuff like that, but it kind of allowed me to go, okay, this is a job, like sun up to sundown. How can I be better? And I think that it shows from where we started at Anaheim 1, where we didn't even make the night show. And then, you know, come Phoenix, we were competing for main events. I feel like, you can see the progress not only as me being a rider, but in the motorcycle and the team and how we gelled. Because, like I said, I didn't really even start riding Supercross till December. I didn't have a lot of time riding, so I think my results are somewhat reflected on beta and the media, but a lot of that is that 8 weeks I was out there just grinding away on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, trying to build myself back up to what I'm capable of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes tons of sense. Yeah.
So, like, honestly, it kind of looked like maybe the bike wasn't great initially, which there were some kinks. But honestly, like, you can ask Carlin. I'd show up at the shop on Sunday and be like, all right, what's the plan? I'm here. I'm ready. And so that whole 8 weeks, I was building as an athlete, as a racer, trying to regain my form. So
awesome.
Yeah. So coming from a KX 450 and going to that beta with that different style of frame, how was that getting used to?
Yeah, that's a great question because the Cowie has a softer feel. So the second I got on the beta, because I've never really ridden a KTM or anything like that, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, this is the stiffest suspension I've ever ridden. And then so the first thing they did was, the suspension guy got it softer or whatever. And then I was kind of realizing, I was like, man, I think this is just a stiff chassis. Okay. So yeah, it is a big difference, honestly. So not in a bad or a good way, just different.
How much? So you obviously need to make changes with it being a new team. I know there's still, I think getting parts is not so easy, or wasn't, at least in the beginning. Did they have a lot of options for you to change things and try different things, different linkages, et cetera?
My outlook going in was like, I didn't ask a lot of questions. I would give them the feedback necessary, and reluctantly they would come to me. It's the suspension guy would come to me. Hey, what are you looking for? What can we do different? He'd build 2 or 3 different sets of suspension and we'd go to the track. I tried to not be that demanding guy, but I tried to help them. I kind of figured, I looked at it like this. My role probably here more than anything is to get a bike on the track and help them develop the motorcycle. So I just tried to help in that manner.
I like it.
All right, John, this was pretty random, but one of the discussions in the chat, and I think we've
chat.
Yeah, I think we've joked around this before, but the question was a competition of mustaches between you, Cody Schock, and Shane. Shane has entered the game. So how do we feel we stack up in the stash contest?
Man, I have to see them all side by side, but I'd like to ask who had one first.
Yeah, you're the OG, right?
Should we save this to the end?
I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know if
I had other questions,
but I don't know. I keep mine a little more trimmed up than I used to, so it probably doesn't look quite as thick as the other guys. So
it was funny because I don't ever remember Shane really having one, and then I just looked it up, and he's got some freaking handlebars, like some ape hangers, dude. Like, that thing's cool.
Yeah, no, he's got a serious mustache. So, I mean, honestly, if you're looking for just burliest mustache, he probably takes the win. I try to keep mine a little bit more groomed up.
Yeah. So, hey, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He was coughing.
Oh, he was coughing? I thought he was about to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little under the weather from that dust in Utah.
Hey, I know that, like, a lot of people probably don't realize this, but I know you and your wife met doing cross country races, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. How was like that, aspect of, Dark Side and I have kind of been venturing into the off-road world. What's your connection to that still? And what do you use from that you use in your day-to-day program now?
And can we get you to a GNCC someday?
Your wife was pretty fast too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly knew of the Crouch family. I didn't really know her when I raced off-road, but I met her when she stopped racing off-road at an amateur national. She had a deal one year. She wanted to race motocross, and that fizzled out. But that's where I actually met her. But yeah, I think she rode for Honda's factory off-road team in the women's class. So yeah, she's a great rider. Did X Games and stuff, but. I think what I take away from my experience in off-road, I just rode the local Texas series. I did 1 GNCC, but I did that for 10 years or so. And, 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 10 years or so what I take from is kind of like riding a motorcycle, whether it's in the woods, whether it's supercross in the desert, it's riding a motorcycle, right? You can acquire skills anywhere. And I kind of apply that today still, like when it rains and it's real muddy and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to shift my practice days. I always kind of look at that as an opportunity to get better because, yeah, I mean, I felt like always riding those adverse conditions growing up is what kind of, you know, instilled the skill set that I had.
Yeah, and you never know when a San Francisco is going to happen.
Yeah, AP's the mud guy for his GNCC experience, right?
Well, if you look at the results I do have, a lot of my better results came on a day where it rained that morning or et cetera, et cetera. You know, like when it rains or something like that, I put a smile on my face. I always end up having a very fun day nonetheless, whether it's a good result or not. But yeah, Dark Side, to answer your question, I never have a dirt bike to race a GNCC. I normally have a practice race bike, so it's hard to get out there. But I would love to race one if I had an opportunity or something was set up where I could ride a dirt bike.
Yeah,
at one of these races, I would definitely go in a heartbeat.
I bet we could reach out to some people and make that happen. Maybe Ironman industry class at the end of the season.
You Dark Side, we need to talk about this. Let's make this happen. I will be at Ironman. If there's a motorcycle there ready to go, I'm in.
Yeah, don't be bluffing, Dark Side.
No, I got some ideas. I think that's actually I bet we can make.
Could
that
he
happen.
ride the industry class?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's in.
In theory, I'm an amateur off-road racer. Those guys are pretty gnarly. I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want none of that.
Yeah, you don't want to line up.
They're pretty bad. I
actually
watch the GNCC streams a little bit when I'm cycling, and those guys send it for 3 hours.
They're nuts, man. Yeah, but yeah, you could do the industry class for 2 hours, no problem. You mentioned earlier when you were on your Kawi during the off season, the little bit of time you had on it, you were struggling a little bit. But then when you went back to your Kawasaki, you started making some mains and were riding pretty well. Maybe you were still struggling a little bit, but did you kind of figure something out with the 24 Kawi? Did you start getting comfortable on it, or was it really just, I mean, I guess you had to be more comfortable on it because you'd had a little bit of time on it.
Yeah, well, mainly when I referred to struggling with it, I was like, I got to the track one day and my bike, for the record, completely stock. I put a slip on at Dallas and we had valved up suspension. So, but anyway, I was struggling just trying to get the thing to run right. I shorted the battery. It was a very user error on my end. And I was just I didn't have a mechanic there or anything. I was like, man, what am I doing trying to race my dirt bike? I don't have the funding, et cetera. And I'm a pretty big believer in, like, if you work hard and it's supposed to happen, things work out. And that to me was kind of like a little bit of a sign, you know, because I was like about to throw the towel in, and then factory beta called. So, but to answer your question, honestly, I feel like, yes, the Kawi was really good. I like that dirt bike. We had the suspension pretty good, but I almost feel like the results after beta were more of a byproduct of the training and everything in California, the 8 or 9 weeks I was there. You know what I mean? Like the building myself back up and the racing. I felt like, honestly, I left those guys, or, you know, Colt came back and they kind of just missed out on the results that John Short was about to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because you know, there was a couple races where I wasn't riding great on the beta, and I almost kind of made a main, and you know, it wasn't because I was riding well enough, but we were trending the right direction.
I gotcha. Hey, John, this might be a little bit off topic here, but I made a trip about 2 weekends ago to Durant, Oklahoma, and got me a Yamaha from Jones Power Sports. How did you get involved with them?
Actually, my second year racing, I met David, and he sponsored me and demoed a motorcycle. And I just kind of met him, and he's a really great guy, and he's kind of always kept in touch with me. He helped me out in 22 with a couple demos, and he helped me out this year with a couple demo bikes. So kind of just a good friend over time. And I've kind of send everybody to buy bikes there. It's right across the Oklahoma River, so I can go up there and, you know, I don't have to pay taxes on it kind of deal too. So you always get a little bit cheaper price.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
they've been around a while, helping moto riders
And
out.
he's got an impressive. I guess you've been there, but he's got an impressive store with all the side by side stuff and the jet skis. I didn't expect that when I first went up there.
Oh no! Whenever I went up there and got the bike, I was kind of blown away. I was in and out of there in like 45 minutes, and I was just trying to be like, "Hey, let me just walk around here for a little minute. This place is pretty awesome. Like
Nice.
they made the process like so seamless."
Oh yeah, no, and they've got pretty much anything you need. Actually, their motorcycle stuff is very small there. I know prior talking to David, he kind of just did the motorcycle stuff, the dirt bike stuff, because he likes dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, so it makes the money. From what I understand.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes
Watercraft and
now.
side by sides for
yeah,
sure.
those side by sides. I mean, yeah, well, you want to sell a dirt bike for 10 or you want to sell a side by side for 35, you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, now he's got a used dealership next door, and he started selling the watercraft stuff. And then he was like, "Well, heck, I might as well start selling trailers too. People buy the watercraft, they can't haul it." So
Right.
one stop shop. There you go.
yeah, they're expanding for sure.
John Short is brought to you by FXR tonight. John, how is your training? Like you, obviously, I assume you have to do some regular work during the week. I don't know if you're making enough to survive on with your racing stuff. So how do you find time to train? Where do you train? Who are you training with? Are you still riding with a lot of the Texas guys like Grant Harlan, et cetera?
Yeah, I try to ride with Mitch Oldenburg as much as I can.
Okay.
And it seems like Grant and Henry and Ryder, all those guys, we kind of all ride the same spots, and actually a pretty good program. But yeah, I've had a couple jobs, and I kind of always came back to, man, if I'm going to race my dirt bike, I might as well pursue some coaching. So I do a lot of, 0 to 50. I don't want to say 0, but beginner, intermediate coaching for riders around here. And I found that to be the best way to draw in some income while still focusing on motorcycles. So I do that in the evenings as my clientele kind of requires. So
Nice.
This might be a dumb question.
it's fun. It's not something that I really want to do post racing, but for the now, so that I can race, still focus. I can go do a full training day, get up in the morning, work out, and then catch an after school session with a couple riders, and probably make more than I would if I was, working a regular job.
Yeah, like Ryder Floyd, trying to do some electrical work or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But I respect that. I'd love to learn. Obviously, there will be a career change pretty soon as I'm getting older. So that's on my mind, what the next move for John Short is.
Okay.
Well, John, it's cool that, 10, 15 years ago in this area, this wasn't the case, but now you have, Tapped House and you have Underground, and I know there's others. And now we just had the owners of Swan on last week, and they're doing, training facilities. So that it's cool that opportunity is now there. With 10, 15 years ago when I raced you once, we kind of, I was in the same class as you once. So that wasn't there then, and it's there now. So that's got to be kind of cool to look at.
Well, and I think it was you guys earlier said something about how many riders are in Texas, or maybe I was listening to something, but that's the cool thing is there's all those facilities and there's enough riders where it's not like they're in competition with each other. I don't feel like, but like I did a school after Colorado or Denver on Tuesday with Tyler Levisay at the MX factory. And man, I was blown away. I mean, there was 40 something guys there, and it was like a group of riders that I'd never seen. It was like, trail riders, beginner riders, old guys. So yeah, there's a lot of people riding motorcycles.
I think that's something that we're seeing definitely in Texas and all over is a lot of trail riders. We're seeing more trail riders, more off-road riders, and just, as Scotty said, people getting together and taking these classes, older guys like us, and taking some lessons, and it's very cool to see. But
the TCCRA is not hurting at all. Those the couple I've done earlier this year, every class was almost full.
Yeah, and then there's even some riders at those races that do training on the practice day, even. So yeah, there's plenty of riders, and I think it's cool. When you see, I've taught riders that are 55, taught riders that are 6. But when you have like an older guy who's been riding for years and he comes and does a lesson, and it's like you can see the smile on his face because he's like, man, I wish I'd have done this 10 years ago.
Right.
Like, I'd have been
Yeah.
so much better off.
Yeah,
For
John,
sure.
I might need to come out and get a training with you.
Get a lesson?
Yeah, I don't think, John, I don't think me and you've ever raced before on a local level.
What? I'll be honest. I didn't hear your introduction. What's your name?
Jeremy Huddleston.
Yeah, I know who you are. You raced the pro class. I rode the B class and schoolboy. I don't think we actually did ever race, but
No.
yeah, I definitely remember watching your ride.
Yeah,
504, right?
564.
564. Sorry.
Yeah,
Pretty
No.
good memory,
Hey, that's
though.
pretty
Yeah.
close though,
Yeah.
John. Don't apologize for
Yeah,
that.
no,
That was
like
good.
whenever I was like in my
Yeah,
like,
we'll blame it on the graphics font, right?
yeah, yeah, like whenever I was kind of like petering out, I was like, okay, I got to be a big boy now and get a job, and
Yeah.
I started a trucking thing and all that good stuff. I was like at Johnsonville seeing this kid on a Honda 250F just ripping so hard. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
he's gonna do something awesome. But man, I might be ignorant to this, but are you doing outdoors this year?
Yeah, it's, sorry.
Is that your next question?
Yeah,
No,
that's,
I
that's kind of
am.
what we
Yeah,
have.
yeah. It's dark side doesn't always call me, but when he does, there's news. So,
So, yeah.
yeah. No, I'm racing all the rounds. I've been searching for an opportunity to kind of put myself. I'm the kind of guy like I want to either go all in or all out. So, my plan was like I'm gonna train and I'll hit 3 outdoor nationals. Budget allows. And I was like, man. So luckily the Mad Parts team had an opportunity, and so I'm going to do all 11 outdoors, and the goal is hopefully the 3 SMX rounds. So that's kind of what we're set up to go compete in right now.
I haven't looked at the standings after Supercross. Are you? Is that pretty realistic? Like, are you there? Are you kind of close to that?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I haven't looked.
I'm the guy who shows up Friday and I go, oh man, it's a day race. So I know at one point I'm probably like 31st or 32nd, but I only raced 2 main events this year. So
32nd.
I had a lot of cool experiences, but if you look on paper, it was probably my worst year of Supercross racing period. So
Well,
You'll get plenty of top 20s.
we'll
You'll
fix
be
that.
all right.
Hopefully, we'll fix that next season. But it was a strange year with the way things went with the beta opportunity. But yes, the main reason we had.
and I missed.
Oh, what's that?
No, I just said and it seemed like once I got some steam rolling, I went to Daytona and
Yeah.
made a main, had my career best. Went to Alabama and raced, and I crashed out in the main. But I felt like, man, I hadn't ridden this good in a long time. Then I got hurt the next weekend, missed 6 weeks. So
Right. Well,
that's how she rolls.
Yeah, the main reason you're on here tonight is your team manager at Mad Parts Kawasaki, our buddy Jericho, Derek Rankin. Let me know that they made the announcement. I think it came out yesterday that you're having an outdoor spot with Mad Parts. So, what does having an opportunity like this with a team like that? How does that help you? What do they do for you? Like, what stands out? Obviously, they're going to pay for some. There's some financial. You don't have to do it yourself. But what does it mean to have a team like Mad Parts help you out?
Well, I'll tell you, put it into perspective. Obviously, I mentioned I had the factory treatment early in the year, and I got real comfortable with that. I loved it. And then I went back to, like, the last 2 rounds, I literally just drove to Denver with 2 bikes in my van, no parts. And I was at altitude going, man, I need to change something on my dirt bike. I don't know how. So for me, that really had me scratching my head like, man, I don't want to be doing this summer. And so for me, what it brings is the resource side of it. Derek Rankin and the crew there, my mechanic, like at least I have people taking care of the motorcycle. I can just focus on racing, and B, working on getting the bike better each weekend, or at least adjusting it for that weekend's conditions. So that's kind of what I was excited about mainly. Obviously I was on the 24 Cowie, and I'll be stepping back to the 23. So I felt like it was worth the resource and the crew to go back to the older generation model.
Okay.
I got you.
So
how healthy are you right now? Are you going to be coming into outdoors as of right now pretty healthy?
Yeah, I mean, when I crashed Indy and I broke 3 bones in between my 2 hands, and so nothing major, but I was like, man, I don't get paid near enough to go out there and race injured. So
Right.
I don't race. I don't get paid near enough, and I'm not doing well enough for it to matter. So, yeah, to answer your question, I'm 100% healthy right now. I've ridden one day outdoor on Supercross suspension. So, for whatever that's worth, hey, we'll see. I know one thing. I told Derek this. That whatever the result is at Paula, I don't know. I hadn't raced outdoors since 2020 because I've been hurt. But whether it's a 5th or a 10th, 20th, 18th, I don't know what that looks like, but it'll be better the next weekend. So I'm excited to have 11 weekends to basically build as an athlete, because that's really hard. You can attest to that. I mean, it's really hard when if you don't race in the summer and everybody else is, and they build fitness and speed, and it's like a never-ending build versus taking off,
Yeah, you got to get beat down to go back up, pretty much.
Pretty much. It's like you come back into the first round of Supercross going, man, what's this racing thing again? Like, how do I pass? Whatever.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more before we let you go. You got 5th place in the Pulp MX Privateer race. How was that, and how beneficial was that payday?
So I love the event. I love the pay. I actually had fun the second moto, but man, I've raced some LCQs in my day on the 450, and they're always fun when you get out front and you win. When you're not out front and you're in the middle of the pack, it's like you don't really want to be there. So that's kind of how my day was, to be honest. I raced around mid-pack, the first one, kind of like looking over my shoulder, trying not to get jumped on. And then they did the reverse invert, but I finished in the middle of the pack. So I was back in the middle of the pack for the second one, and I passed up to like 6 or something. But it was fun. Everybody was safe, but it was a little nerve-wracking with all those 90s, because you wanted to go wide and triple through the one lane and go on off. But the second you would go wide, there was a different color front fender up the inside. So it kind of felt like you were rolling, doubling around. And I'm sure it was entertaining to watch, though. That's the point. So
yeah, you made a few bucks. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No. Just leaving the race healthy with some money I didn't have before, I'm pretty grateful for. So.
Yeah, they pretty much just showed the front. Like I was like, dude, show the middle. That's where all the good stuff is.
They only had a few cameras.
I know, but they could have panned a couple more times.
If they'd have had it around me, I'll give you a little insight from the day. I think me and Henry Miller passed each other like 9 times the second moto. I'd pass him, and then I'd go wide to hit the jump, like wasn't thinking. I thought I had a gap, and then he'd go right up the inside. And the very last lap, Josh Cartwright passed me. I passed him back and then went through the whoops, passed Cheyenne Harmon into the whoops, and Henry Miller had fallen at the end, and I'm going straight into him, and I have to kind of switch lanes as I'm passing Cheyenne, going through the whoops. That's the kind of chaos you guys miss,
Yeah.
So it was out there.
Well, Joe had to have been kind of confused. It's like, do I pass this guy, or like what do I don't know what to do. Like what, like what's gonna win?
My mindset pretty much. I didn't I'm that guy who shows up and doesn't know what's going on. So I didn't even know what the payout structure was really. So my goal always is like gate drops. I want the checkered flag or be as close to it as I can. So that was pass whoever's in front of me is always the mindset. So.
All right, last.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. What is it, Darkside? You probably know. I think 8th place actually paid more than like 7th.
Yeah, I didn't see the payout structure either, but I know he had some things in there that were kind of random like that. So yeah, I'm sure that's accurate. Yeah, Steve likes to mix it up.
Oh yeah, man, he does a good job of it. He makes it fun.
Absolutely. All right, last question. This was a question that was emailed to our group for us to answer, but I decided to ask the guests tonight. What's your most embarrassing moment on a motorcycle? Whether it be like looping out in front of somebody or just whatever, something that embarrassed you.
Man, there's a lot of embarrassing moments throughout my career, just as far as bad results and a lot of effort. But one thing I guess that did stick out is I still see the video circulate all the time, and it's not really anything I did, but I was in Germany racing for Sturm, and what's the guy's name? He's number 220, Lafrancois or something. He did that deal, where he takes off before the gate drops and wheelies, so he doesn't hit it.
Oh yeah.
you know, and he did it. I mean, you couldn't have done it any more perfect. His back wheel was about to hit the gate, and I hadn't even like attempted to let the clutch out yet as the gate fell. And in my head, I'm like, oh, they're about to red flag this. But then I went back and watched the video, and I was like, man, my start sucked. Like, but it really wasn't even that my start was that bad. It was, but that dude, he like, I think he got air coming off the grate. Like
he buddy hopped it?
He did the Heath Harrison at Loretta's basically, but like 9 times better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll have to look that up. That's great.
I don't even think anybody knows that's me next to him. I was like 963 or something, but I was like, man.
That's awesome. Well, John, it's been cool talking to you, man. Shout out to Mad Parts and Bubba Polly and Derek for getting you guys on board, and looking forward to seeing you this summer.
I appreciate it. Yeah, check in anytime. Let's make this Ironman deal happen.
Okay, I'm on it, dude. I'm on it, John. I'll get it figured out, and I'll text you.
All right. You guys have a great evening. Thank you for your time.
You too. See ya. John Short, brought to you tonight by FXR. Good stuff. Mad Parts. Yeah, I think he'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I think he can make that. I think he can make the SMX. I mean,
yeah, that's the main thing,
I totally
right?
see him as like he should be 17th, 18th, 19th. Like
yeah, he'll be a good seat for.
Isn't
Mad
he kind of
Parts.
better? He's better outdoors, right? Usually,
I think so.
He has his moments in both.
Outdoors, he's
had some moments of brilliance in Supercross, but yeah, I think overall I'd say better outdoors.
Yeah, he's willing to grind outdoors.
Yeah. All right, we have about 15 minutes before we get Jeff Emig on, so let's do the ProX top 5. ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro Yamaha, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They have been supplying quality components for almost 50 years. From complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance including filters, chains, and sprockets, ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. Find ProX at your local dealer or visit prox-usa.com and search parts for your bike. ProX Top 5 topic this week is your top 5 things that annoy you at a racetrack. Next week, we're going to have worst days or moments riding. That kind of ties in with embarrassing moments. I
thought we already did something like that.
We might have, but this was a request from a listener, so
okay.
I figured we'll jump back on it. Who wants to go first on top 5 things that annoy you at the track?
I go.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
This might be because I'm getting older. I don't know.
Probably.
But
it has to do with a lot of our decisions nowadays.
I mean, $35, $40 to show up to a practice track and not really getting your bang for your buck. And
sure.
I understand that, prices go up. That's why we're willing to pay the $30 to $35 to $40.
Are we talking about racing or just practice days?
Practice days.
Okay.
And I guess my number 2, no trash cans at these facilities.
A lot of them don't have trash cans or porta potties sometimes.
Yeah, and so then my kids are getting older. They're a little more easy to handle as far as like taking them places. They'll actually listen when you tell them, don't do that.
Yeah.
But bringing my kids, my wife to these practice tracks or racing facilities, the restrooms are not, in my opinion, adequate enough. I guess you could say not really sanitary enough. I mean, if it's just me, no big deal.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me until I started bringing my kids and my family.
Okay.
And then waiting until it's hard packed to water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
And then I guess my last one is a lot of tracks I grew up riding on as a kid are now turned into private training facilities. And kind of taking a lot of fun because if you think about it, underground, I kind of grew up riding with underground. Tapped houses over in my neck of the woods. I mean, I didn't grow up riding there, but it's so close to me. I'm like 15 minutes. I'm like,
yeah.
I want to go ride.
They do have some days, but you just have to be ready to go that day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually, that's not on my list, but like just the fact that in this area there's no tracks open a couple days a week at least. There probably isn't the market for it, but like in California, a lot of tracks are open.
You're the only journalist that needs access to a track.
No, like in California, like Glen Helen's open 3-4 days a week, and it's
California.
packed.
Yeah.
Okay, but I feel like we have more riders.
Those places have people at them. They have kids doing training stuff.
I'm saying just for the general public.
Yeah,
though. Paula's open during the week. Cahilla's open during the week, and there's people there. If tracks open here, do you think people would show up?
Nope.
Okay, well, that sucks.
I don't think so. We're all, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I wouldn't be able to go on a weekday, so
I'd go.
Village does they do night practices.
They do night practice sometimes. I don't even know if they're doing that anymore.
I think
maybe
they still do.
But still, yeah, it'd be cool if there was a track that was open during the week, like even if it was just one day. Like
Athens used to do night practice back in the day. That was cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if like Swan or I don't know, pick a track.
Well,
Or Johnsonville could open up on,
Caitlin's a friend of the show now, so maybe
we gotta work that out. What are your ProX top?
That next practice day that they're having, I guess it's Memorial Day. That's on a Monday.
Yeah.
Because they're having it after the vet thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm here or not, but yeah, that'd be cool. That's good for them. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. My top 5 are this isn't really like, I guess it's not really as much of an annoyance. It is in a way, but it just always cracks me up. Like the slowest dude on the track, like just totally goon, and then he's heading back to the truck, and then taps out fourth gear, going back to the truck. It's like, dude, you never hit hit fourth gear once on the track, and then now you're gonna try to possibly hit somebody and make a bunch of dust going flat speed, or in the pits. Like, dude, don't speed in the pits. If you can't do it on the track, don't do it on the.
Well, you should do it in the pits anyway. But,
yeah, I know, but I'm saying
I hear what you're saying.
It's like, all right, sweet, I can finally go fast now. I'm not scared. I would say that watering / track prep sometimes was, and I know it's tough. It's not an easy job. It's a lot of money to run a facility. There's not a lot of return on it. You could put all this money into a practice day and then not have the turnout that you expected to have, and then now you're kind of upside down on the weekend. But I just say, like, if you are gonna invite and especially charge $35, $40, yeah, like you got to make sure that, and most of the places that I go to do a good job of it, but track prep not being adequate would definitely is a good way. Like we went to that Tex-Mex place a couple years ago, and it was just like it was like
Badlands.
Yeah, well, you had to, and it wasn't like 30. You had to buy a little membership thing because it was a park, and it was like $45-$50 to get in, and then it was just like a flat track with tabletops on it, and it's like, yeah, and so that would be one of them.
Okay.
People not riding the correct practice. There's a thing now where kids that are riding
Super Mini.
Well, no, 85s are, they're all kind of together. That's fine. And if a kid's fast enough, like there was a couple of kids on 85s that were super fast that rode our practice. They held their lines. They were fine. It's the ones where it's like there's like AMA C now. There's like Loretta's C class, and then there's like actual novice beginner practice. If you're at like a local organized practice and your goal is to be like top 5 Loretta's, go ride the intermediate expert practice. Nobody cares if you're racing C class that night or whatever. Like, I go and ride and we've had the topic with you, Darkside, to go ahead and make the jump to intermediate, and we go ride the intermediate expert practice, and but it's just dangerous for those guys to go ride the C practice and be that fast.
Right.
Like, if you're scrubbing a triple step down, like, you don't need to be. Let those guys have their moment. Just ride in the B class. Ride with the faster guys. Who knows? You might even get faster. So that always annoys me when you're like watching C class and just see some dude like completely panic revved out, like bar dragging a corner. It's like, dude, ride the other practice. And then generator etiquette is one of them. Like, just because it's quiet to you, don't like blast your generator into the next campsite. Like, figure something out. I know that's only 4, but I feel like I talked long enough. That's probably good.
All right. So mine are late starts, starting, being.
Oh, if you're like, say it's going to start at 8. And
it's a half hour, 45 minutes late, which Swan used to be notorious for.
No, they haven't done that now.
No, but that was always very frustrating. Another reason I would kind of stay away a lot from that track. Being the plus 40, plus 45 class, it seems like my race is always like 19th, 20th.
I'm always that way.
I'm almost never like race 2. It's always at the end, so that frustrates me, annoys me. Also, when I'm late in the day, the class before me is the 50s. So you sit at the gate for like 45 minutes.
And then they water.
And then they water. Yeah.
Hey, because when we were riding a couple weekends ago, I was like, hey, you're pretty early going down there. Oh, it's okay. I'll just sit down there. So,
yeah.
Come on,
but
man.
On race day, I don't like that, man. I don't like that on race day. I don't like getting in the gate, like lined up at the gate, and then you look up and you're like, oh, there's a 50 that
started his last
lap. And then, they're like, oh, we're going to water.
Sweep the track in the water, yeah.
Not being able to hear the PA. Like, a lot of these tracks, again, it's financial stuff, but like they don't necessarily invest in the PA.
Man.
Probably is, but it still can be annoying. And
I
then,
like the radio solution.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good option when they have that. And then flaggers not paying attention or knowing what they're really doing. We had that problem at Bill and Dilla early on in the day, and I actually told Bill about it, and I think they handled it. But just when they're not really there because they know what the sport is, or this local kids are making $20 and they're on their phone or whatever, that's not cool, man, because somebody can get really hurt. So
TJ said he's annoyed that they don't have a Sur-on class.
Well, that's not this is motocross. It's not electric bike racing.
Electrocross.
Yeah, find an electric bike series, and maybe then you can do that.
Do you think these local guys, like local tracks, practice tracks, do you think they were kind of missing the mark on like pushing their facility as far as like putting in the work to draw in more people?
It's just
I don't know. As far as advertising and stuff,
it's so niche.
Advertising or updating the facility.
I mean, I can't say that with Swan, obviously, because they're doing lots of stuff. But
I mean,
the
tracks that are kind of open to the general public week in, week out.
It's hard. It's a tough. I feel like it's a tough ask to ask somebody that's not like a premier facility to invest like $10,000 into a bathroom when 30 guys come out at $40 on Saturday.
Right. Right. I mean,
and like 30 is if you had 30 on, obviously when they have organized practice at Swan and stuff, those get bigger, but. Like a normal practice track, 30 is a good day, to have that many people out there.
Like, I mean, if you're gonna spend, say $30,000 on a track get built, buy $80,000 skid steer, $50,000, $100,000 bulldozer, $40,000 water truck. Why?
Yeah, but what if you like already had all that stuff and like handed down to you, or you used it for like another job?
Then what's your excuse for having a better facility?
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's a good point.
Like some type of stand where either you can sell drinks out of, T-shirts out of, just something to kind of bring in that extra.
Having a concession stand, that's another big one. It's annoying when they don't have a concession stand. But we got 5 minutes or 4 minutes now before Jeff, and we still got to do Evan's coolant emails. Okay. Evan's waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays liquid. Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation, but with Evan's, the metal is always liquid cooled. Used by HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA, Ampro Factory Yamaha, and lots of other teams, regardless of sponsorship. Evans is in the bikes on the podium. Tonight, Evans Coolant emails. We got a very random one that I thought was kind of funny. Well, I wish TJ's on
he's on the
message
chat
board. So let's start with this one. What do you want out of being on this pod? Darkside already got a full-time job at Vital. After doing this for years, what do you and TJ is really the question. What are you looking for? What do you like? Why do you do it? What do you think? What do you hope to get out of it?
I guess when I first started, I always thought that I didn't really like, it wasn't like, I just kind of happened,
Yeah.
Like I did it one time. The next thing I know, I've been doing it for 4 years. So I don't know that I really I expect the show to pay off for me or something like that. Or like, I guess I could use it as a footstep to go to do more things. But I mean, dude, the industry is pretty tapped on there's enough people with enough opinions, there's enough people getting articles.
Yeah.
Like it's a very, like you're probably one of the few, I'm sure there's a couple, but you're one of it's been super impressive to see what you've done. Like you're one of the few people that didn't really have like a name for themselves in some right before becoming, like ML was pro, and then he started a team, and Steve was a mechanic, and
Kiefer's raced like local pro.
Yeah, I know, but Kiefer raced pro, and and there's a
test,
and Whiskey Throttle, he was a pro, like Swap Moto, he started a magazine.
In the industry somehow.
I don't say. I think it would be unfair for me to ask the show to to have those expectations that the show's just going to take me there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not in the position to give up certain things in order to sacrifice to making my way into the sport. Maybe eventually I will. I don't know, but I don't think that I necessarily expect the show to get anything out of it. I enjoy doing it. I get to talk to cool people. It's cool getting to watch the races with friends, and it's like, oh yeah, I've talked to him. We had him on the show, and and I just I enjoy, we've become friends out of it. That's been cool.
No, we haven't.
I've gotten I've gotten to be able to do different things that I never would have experienced. So it's just been cool.
Did TJ send a response? We got less than a minute before we got to get Jeff on, so we'll have to get to the other question in a minute. But did he say?
I want the tax write-offs for the show, is what he said.
Well, he doesn't get those anymore. So,
yeah.
sorry, TJ, because you might. That's probably why he doesn't show up anymore. Quickly, I guess the question was, it was asking TJ and Scotty like what they kind of want out of doing the show long term, why they do it. Just what about you?
Well, real quickly, I think I make a really good test rider, and I guess I would actually pay for myself to go to California and do some testing with Kiefer, just because I feel like I can feel a lot on a motorcycle, and I could be another second opinion. But that's really, I guess, about it.
Okay. Yeah. So really, you're doing it because you enjoy it. And it's fun.
I really enjoy it.
No, yeah, but it's just that's kind of what I think why we all started doing this. Like, I certainly never thought that I would get a full-time job in the industry doing this. I just thought it was kind of fun, and we did it, and started in 2017, and here we are. Somehow I got hired by Vital. But yeah, our next guest of the night's on the line, so we'll get back to these other emails in a minute. Blood lubricants, do you think all oil is the same?
Nope.
Well, it's not. It's a bit like food in that you can have all the same ingredients, but a great chef will make something that knocks your socks off. Blood lubricants was developed over 40 years of knowledge in the oil business and is used by racers in the most grueling motorsports on the planet, including Baja, NASCAR, Indy, NHRA, sprint cars, motocross, supercross, and many more. Blood Lubricants has a reputation for lasting longer than other brands and is known to keep your bike running up to 30 degrees cooler. Visit Blood Lubricants, that's BLUD, bloodlubricants.com. Use promo code VMX25 to save. Tonight, Blood Lubricants brings us the 1997 AMA Supercross champion and two-time AMA Pro Motocross champion, Jeff Emig. What's up, Fro?
Oh, just wrapping up my day here. How are you guys?
Doing good. It's a pleasure to finally get you on the show. I sort of joked at Billadilla a couple of weeks ago that you're one of the few guys I've not had on the show. So I feel like we could wrap it up after tonight. We're done.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to get back to your last sponsor there with Blood Lubricants. 30% cooler.
Yep.
That the engine runs 30% cooler, right?
That was,
what you're saying?
Yeah, tested by Chris Kiefer, man.
That's a big difference because heat robs horsepower. So
absolutely. We always tell people like Blood, it's a little more expensive than some other oils, but it's really good. And I got turned on to it.
Here we go. Here's the catch. The catch.
I got turned on to it a few years ago when we were sponsored by somebody else, and I was talking to Kiefer about it. And I was like, I've heard that this particular brand, maybe some teams are sponsored, but they don't use it. And he said, industry insight here, man. It's a little secret thing, Blood Lubricants. And he had been testing it, and he turned me on to it. And yeah, it's good stuff, bro. It's good stuff.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, again, a pleasure to have you on. Let's start right off the bat. One of the things we talked about at Billadilla, I want to get this out of the way because it's a big deal for you. You have a Signature Series goggle that just came out through Viral. How did you get involved with Viral, and kind of give us a little bit of that, because it's really cool. I mean, first of all, it's pretty much an honor to have a Signature Series anything, including your ODI grips, etc.
Well, so hold on. So let me correct the record here a little bit. So
okay.
It's a co-branded goggle. Yes, Emig is my brand, but the goggle, the frame, and all that is it's a Signature Series Plus. There's a Signature Series Plus. The Emig co-brand, like collab, is one of those. So it's not a signature goggle. It's a little bit confusing, but yeah, I have a co-branded product with Viral. I got in touch with Scott Steffi, who a lot of people know from used to race as a professional supercross and stuff back in the 80s, early 90s. Last year, after I left the brands that I was with for 26 years, and that category was open, Scott approached me, says, "Hey, what do you think about checking out the Viral goggle?" Checked it out, rode with it a bit. I liked, the features. Performance was great, and it seemed like the right move. And so, have been able to work with the Viral brand with Viral Brand Goggles here it's been about a year now. And then just to release a co-branded, collab product here is pretty cool because it just strengthens the entire Viral brand, if you will.
Yeah, no, I agree. It brings a little recognition to it, right? That somebody like yourself trusts it and believes in it and is wearing it. That's really cool.
Yeah, and what's cool about it for me, right? Like, yes, it is bringing these two brands together. It's another addition to the things that I've done in the sport in all the different ways. And I was kind of reflecting on it Saturday when we did the goggle launch. And all of the team riders for Viral and all the different disciplines. So Supercross, MXGP, off-road, everyone between last weekend and this weekend, they're all wearing the new goggle, the Emig collab goggle. So it's pretty cool to do sort of a global launch takeover like that. But I was just reflecting on, how long I've been in the sport, and like I mentioned, to me, I think of it more as co-branding rather than a signature series than a signature goggle, because my family has been in the sport for so long. We really entered the motocross community. My brother did in 1977, and early 78, I rode my first motocross. And, we have our family business with Emig Racing, and my brother had been involved in multiple, race teams and mechanics and stuff. Of course, I have the racing career. And to me, it was gratifying to see another brand have our brand, our family brand, engaged with it. And so that's kind of how I see it. It's less of a signature and more of like a legacy thing, like, wow, here's another thing we've done. Because, I grew up with brands like Preston Petty, Fox Racing, that is the Fox family, Malcolm Smith, which is the legend, it goes on and on and on. So that's kind of how I see it, is more a representation of what our family name has been to the motocross community for close to 50 years now.
Yeah,
I hate to say it.
I like the way you're looking at it. That's actually, really neat when you think about it that way. And you talked about how long you've been in this sport and around this industry, and your family has, and just staying with goggles for a minute, the evolution of the goggles is pretty damn impressive now, with the wider field of vision and the injection molded lenses and quick change lenses. Like, it's one of those items that you go, they can't really improve it that much, but they have.
Yeah, it's the goggle. I mean, you remember I started, racing in the 70s.
Sure.
And, even into my pro years, the technology with the goggles, when I was with Scott forever, and Vivo Forte was building our goggles, and sweat dripping on your lens was an issue. And so he's the one that said, okay, we're gonna put maxi pads on the foam and all this sort of stuff. And now the Viral brand goggle, the Signature Series Plus, like the full top of the line, has the magnetic face foam. You can use you can get different foam thicknesses. And of course, the foams that we use now are so much better in that way if we're absorbing sweat and holding sweat. And the Viral actually has a sweat channel. So where the top is, where your goggles pressed against your face, there's actually a channel that channels the sweat off to the sides of the goggles. It's just crazy, like all of the different things that they can do. And when you look at the modern goggle, and of course the Viral is no exception to that, like having outriggers, having it to where the goggle, it fits around your face like perfectly. And actually this week I tried I run just normally the standard, but this week I went to the thicker foam that we use, and really like tightened up my goggle some, and I liked it, and so having the options for the different foams that can also help with different facial structures, right? Different sizes, things like that. That's what I think performance wise with the Viral goggle that is really exceptional. So it's cool to do a co-branded product, and cool to be associated with a brand that's on the rise.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff, we're going to touch on some of your career a little bit. I know you've done that many times. So like a lot of there's two other guys in the studio with me, but a lot of my questions are, I'm going to touch on your career a little, but I think hopefully we do it a little differently. I know back in the day that you did some Mickey Thompson races when you were first starting out doing Supercross, or at least that's what I remember. And I want to know how you feel like that compares to what we have now with futures, where there's obviously much more opportunity to go to facilities and learn Supercross, where, like I said, back in the day, you had to go race Mickey Thompson Ultracross, which is Supercross-esque, but it wasn't, you really didn't have the same opportunities to go learn how to ride Supercross.
No, but you got the stadium experience and being able to know what it's like inside of the stadium before you got there. And I rode a handful of amateur days. I rode LA Coliseum in like 1981. I rode Texas Stadium a couple times. I won a race in Atlanta amateur day when the year that the ice storm went through, I think it was 83 maybe. And didn't even know that I won the race until I went to get my trophy because it was so muddy. And, so was able to get a little bit of experience, but once it was, I was an A-level rider, going to be amateur one more year. Well, then we hit the circuit. I remember riding, I think we rode Denver, and my older brother probably raced in also. And so we rode an Ultracross there. And then a week before my very first Supercross, Anaheim Stadium 89, keep in mind, I was still an amateur that year. I wasn't a pro rider yet. So it was a real pro-am type landscape, back then. So I go to ride the Ultracross events, and keep in mind, you're racing against the Volan brothers, which Talon was my age, but Tyson was older. Larry Brooks, Mike Young. I mean, these dudes were like grown men that had to make some effing money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and here I am, a little kid. I barely hit puberty. I could ride the motorcycle, but I also had to ride a 250. So it's essentially, riding a 450 when you're not physically, mentally, emotionally, mature-wise, nothing ready at all, but you have to do those, right? And hell, I ended up winning Anaheim Ultracross the week before my first Supercross. And I remember Tyson Volan he was an absolute animal at those things. And you remember how the jumps were a ski jump for the off-road series. For us, it was like basically like hitting a wall.
Because it was backwards, yeah.
Yeah, and I got the start. However the start worked, I led most of the race. And at the white flag, Tyson he just doesn't let off over the back, the backward ski jump essentially, and he just airs it out. And I remember he had to be 5-10 feet higher than me, and I'm looking up to the side like, holy shit! And he loops out, right? And I'm thinking, like, I probably hit it as fast as I wanted to, and he hit it even faster. So yeah, those were really crazy events. I mean, certainly our sport is that transition from being a kid on 65s all the way through, the pieces of the puzzle are put together where, I went to my first Supercross, went wire to wire in heat number 1 of the 125 class, whole shot at the main event in the 125 class. I led like 11 laps, and then Chicken passes me. I was pissed. I wanted to pass him back. I missed my rear brake. I go over the berm. I don't remember what I finished, 7th, 8th, 13th, something. But the point was, could a kid in his own box van show up to Anaheim 1 this year as an amateur rider and win a heat race and lead the 250 main?
Yeah, it's almost
win the thing.
Yeah, almost impossible.
That kid doesn't. He's not doing it on his own now.
Yeah,
like that. There's no way that kid's falling through the cracks, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, who's this kid from Kansas City?"
Right.
We already know.
Sure,
we already know that kid's already been working with Star or Pro Circuit or whoever. Husky, KTM, Gas, Troy Lee, everybody. All those teams. They already have that kid locked up into a program. You know what I mean? So 100%. It's quite a bit different now than than what it was.
Yeah, I have a few more questions about how the sport's changed, but Scotty, you got a question?
I mean, I was going to kind of change the subject.
That's fine. We can come back to it.
Yeah, Jeff, I got the pleasure of meeting you at Billadilla, and it was a really cool experience. For those of y'all, our listeners that are thinking about how fast Jeff is still and everything, like seeing you ride, man, it was cool to be like, yeah, that's somebody who definitely won a Premier Class champion. Like watching you ride was cool. I just kind of wanted you to talk a little bit about how you found Billadilla, what you thought of it, and kind of how that whole thing went.
Well, cool. I appreciate the compliment. What I tell everybody, because everybody's like, man, you still look great on the bike. And I said, yeah. Just don't put a stopwatch on it, and we're both going to be happy.
Dude, it's fast. Don't worry, you're good.
Especially, it's all relative. But I took a bunch of time off this fall and winter again, and really just kind of started riding again. Not long before I saw you out at Billadilla, and so my purpose is get ready to race the finals in August. Again, and defend my Loretta's titles. So I'm not nearly where I need to be, but I feel good on the bike, and sometimes my mechanic BJ Burns, who lives back there, he's at MX University. He that weekend we rode. Oh no, that was for the qualifier, but we rode Swan, and I was really uncomfortable and just kind of putting around and I did a Loretta's area at Freestone, and I don't think he was that impressed. I think he was like, man, your lap time's way off, dude. But then when we went to Billadilla and I'm getting more comfortable, I'm riding in California, little by little things sort of come around, but I try to keep it in my own zone. But I certainly don't like a place like Billadilla, super fun to ride, not too difficult, but I'm not, I'm well within my comfort zone at a place like that. And I get ultra conservative when it gets late in the day, and it got all windy and blown out, right? For the listeners that weren't there, it was super so windy.
Yeah, crazy.
And my enthusiasm starts to dwindle at that point. Yeah. And you're like, okay, how many races we have left?
Yeah, you were spending so much time in Texas, everyone thought you moved to Texas.
Yeah, well, I met Billy Stevens, who is Billadilla. That's his ranch. Mm-hmm. Last fall, he invited me out, check it out. Said, "Hey, we're gonna have a vet race next year. What do you think?" And then we just started. We've got a friendship. I've been out there once a month since then. My girlfriend Jessica and I go out and ride quads and UTVs and stay at the cabin up on top of the mountain. And my son's been out there doing the same thing, fishing in the ponds, riding bikes, quads, all that. So it's been really fun. He's been a wonderful host and just a really amazing guy. So yeah, it's been a cool place. And Billy's like, I'm going to make the country club of motocross track. Yeah. That's his goal. And so he's working on it. We got rained out, and then we almost got blown out there. So, yeah. But we got the race done, and yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah. So you've been spending some time in Texas. So how was it? Was I guess you could say the Southern hospitality, everybody treating you pretty nicely and getting some bikes, and how's that been for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, the ironic thing is I started looking for someone to support my motorcycle riding, and what I want to do in addition to just riding MX, I want to ride more off-road. I want to ride some adventure. Jessica, my girlfriend, and I, we started a project called Second Wheel. Her being my second wheel, motorcycle having two wheels. She's really crafty that way with words. So if you remember back to the first World Supercross in Birmingham last year on the broadcast, her and I did a feature for the show called Second Wheel.
Yep.
It was like a travel tourism thing. Well, the plan was to do that at all of the events, and then it was a lot of changes with World Supercross, and I left the championship and all that. But the idea of us riding motorcycles together, riding the adventure bike together, and touring around and doing stuff like that is what's part of the plan. And I talked to Chit Munn a few months back and kind of told them what I was looking for, and I said, I'm looking for a company that can support that type of riding with the motorcycles, and then we can create some really cool aspirational content that really people to want to go ride these motorcycles, because separate from maybe the pure just sales pitch of everything, I feel like racer and ambassador, I guess you can't use the term ambassador or something.
Oh, hadn't heard that.
But yeah, but it's the biggest, like, who I am as a motorcycle racer now is my to go ride. And if they want to use the products that I endorse, great. That's all part of it. But it's like people see you riding. My bike of choice is the FC350. It's just fantastic, by the way. I'm really enjoying it. Is that, and then moving into Chip set me up with an off-road 350, and then the 901 Norden adventure bike. Like, you want to create content. It's super fun to do that because you're literally doing what you like to do and then creating the content around that. You're showing people, hey, if you have this motorcycle, you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so creating the aspirational content through MUN Racing and all with MUN is what the new plan is. And it certainly gets me riding more, and I really, it's crazy that at age 53, I find it better whenever I'm on the motorcycle. It's not easy. It's a lot of work, washing stuff. So I have to wash everything, my van, my bike, gear, everything, every time I ride.
Right.
So it's really time consuming, but I really do enjoy it. And I figure golf and cards and drinking whiskey can wait another decade or so. I'll still ride while I can.
For sure. I wanted to ask you about the 350 because we talked about that at Billadilla. At the time, you hadn't been on it very long, and I think you had said you kind of had a little bit of an opinion on the 350 before you got on it. And you'd mentioned Mike Brown, who had wrote it. Kind of retell that story for the listeners.
Well, sorry, I'm trying to eat my burger right now.
You're good.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
That's fine.
Sorry.
You're good.
I for the longest time before I was ever associated with the KTM group, which initially my association with them was back in 16 when I was an ambassador. I couldn't ever understand like why are they 250, 450? Make a choice, big bike, little bike, and get on with it. And then some years ago, I would go up to the Evergood Open in Iowa. What I would do is I would fly into Kansas City. My buddy Bart Schiffler, who was Donnell's KTM Husky, all that stuff, he would set me up with his gas can stand and a new bike of choice. And one of the years, he's like, "Well, what bike do you want? Because we'll get it set up, we'll get it unlocked and ride it." And I said, "Well, what do you have a lot of that you could, wouldn't be a big deal if you get, if I rode one?" And he said, "Well, I got 3 350s." I said, "Well, let me try that thing. I've never ridden it before." And I was really impressed. It's an interesting balance between the 250 and 450. 250, obviously, you still got to rev the thing some. A 450, it's a big bike, and you got to hang on. And the 350 for me is just a nice balance where I only weigh 165, 170 pounds. If I was 190, 200, I would probably choose a 450. But for me and my size, like, I can roll the throttle on at a really low RPM. And what's crazy, I guess, about this new engine, it was new last year, is the range that it has from low RPM torque and revving. It'll rev as far as you want to go, which is further than what I want to rev it. It really does. So it's just so easy to ride. And then just this last week, Jamie Ellis from Twisted Development set me up with one of his Vortex EC, where he manipulates obviously the mapping, manipulates it's got a traction control and it's got a quick shift on, so you can kind of adjust some things. And what I thought was great about that was it just made a bike that I already thought was great. It just smoothed out the edges. And one of the settings, they call it two-stroke setting, where it takes a little bit of the engine braking away. So the traction control setting is there. So it just tracks really good. And I mean, it's just so easy to ride.
It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's a fun bike.
Yeah, Jeff, it's got to be funny to think about. Like,
I would say that MUN probably still has some in stock if people want to head down to Elmont, Texas, and pick themselves up one. You can fly into Waco, pick up a bike, drive home,
or head over to Billadilla.
Yeah,
head over to Billadilla for a private ride. Yeah. So the private ride days are great because I think it's 40 or 50 riders is what it's capped at.
Yep.
So then it's like full prep track. Just enough where there's good berms and stuff, but not so much that it's chewed up and nasty. Oh, it's fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jeff, it's gotta be fun. Like thinking about like man, what could have we have done in 97, 98 with these bikes now rather than those tanks of KX250s that they used to be.
Yeah, they were so different, and that's it's really the point now with the production bike is at such a better place than what it was. And that being said, it's crazy because there's still some more dialing it in to be had. Like, I've got my suspensions down in Enzo. Ross has set me up with the full kit spring fork, which is like, if you're going to go off of stock, the spring fork is the only way to go. Like last year when I made the switch to the spring fork, it was like, this is so good. But stock, for the average guy, stock is great. Do some adjustments, get the spring rate in the rear right, get the air spring right in the front. It's great. But then once you start riding a little more, you're pushing a little more, you start racing at a higher level, higher pace, all these things become important. And then you've got these companies that make models to make a bike even better. And you're like, this is such a good time to be a motocross rider,
Oh, for sure. Jeff Emig, brought to you tonight by Blood Lubricants. I don't want to keep you too much longer. We've already had you for 30 minutes. I've got a couple more questions I'd like to hit you with. One of them is, with what we're seeing out of Jet Lawrence right now, it feels a little bit McGrathy, where he's in a place mentally he feels like he's the best guy. He's probably getting in some of the other guys' heads, and you dealt with a guy that was almost like, how do we beat a guy that seems to be hard to beat, almost impossible to beat? And you were one of the few that could do it. So what would you tell guys that are going to be lining up next to Jet for the next few years because it's a mental game too? What would you tell those guys they need to focus on?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
The first thing is that Jet is that next evolution where he makes it look really easy, and that's bad news, right? That happens every now and then. Webb and Tomac and everybody, they've had their, Sexton. He certainly, but that's going to be an issue for the guys, right? But where he differs from McGrath even is that he does it in most. McGrath at the time was so focused on Supercross that until '95 he kind of threw away motocross. He struggled at it a little bit. He won some races. Certainly was fast at times, but his focus wasn't there. And then by '95 he said, "Okay, I need to win on both sides of the scale here." And Jet just seems to go to each race like no big deal. Mm-hmm. And I really admire his technique. I think that he's done a lot of things just great, and it all starts with his technique because he's so efficient on the bike. And I remember the first time I met him, he was just a kid. We were doing some, and watching him on the bike, going, "Wow, little brother can ride also." It's like, like Hunter had the ride, and then Jet was kind of thought, "Hey, I've got another son, blah blah blah. Let's get him going." And we were out in the dunes, and Joe Schmoda and Jet were both riding in the dunes for the first time, and both of them were just exceptional. And you're like, "Whoa, these kids really know how to ride a motorcycle." And then as we, it was just about, a little bit of, of coaching and, maturing. And Johnny O'Mara, who coaches Hunter and Jet, he really is the guru. He's like the Yoda of Supercross. And you think about the guys that he's worked with, taking a rider that has exceptional talent and all that, and desire and determination, and helping the rider get in the and limit the distractions and get fit where you need to be, and then the mental side of things, coaching and strategy and things like that. It's great to see Hunter finish up this season really strong too. Yeah. It was, quite the family affair, and just a great story all around.
I agree. I think they're good for the sport, but at the same time, the fan side of me is like, I don't want to see a guy just dominate. So I hope that and I think Chase is going to give him a hell of a fight this summer. So I think we're going to be okay. But yeah, Jet's going to be something special. I have one more similar type of question. When you retire from a sport that you've done your whole life, you've raced at the highest level, and you decide to stop racing professionally, a lot of riders struggle with, like, what's next? How do I deal with that? I don't have the fans screaming for me anymore. I don't have the media coming to me and want to interview me, etc. So you have to figure out where your place is in life. I want to know, like, what you would tell a guy like Eli Tomac, who is coming towards the end of their career, or that type of guy. What lesson would you tell them that you learned to help you?
Ooh, that's an interesting question, because I think it's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember correctly, my career got cut short with the back injury.
Yep.
Obviously, with a bad injury like that, after a few years, physically, I was in a good place. A lot more with friends, and that's not something that is lost on me. And I feel infinitely thankful that my health is where it is. Because when Michael Byrne was still racing as a professional, I had been retired for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and I remember, like, we are really close friends, and just going, "Hey, what are you thinking when you're done racing? Like, where would you like to go?" And I remember the whole time thinking, rider, coach, team manager, like, you are built for that, because of just everything that he would do with it, how, meticulous he was with his own career and all this, and that knowledge that he has, he would be really good with, coaching somebody else. And consequently, like Michael Byrne, right, he's part of that program down in Florida that the Lawrences are around. I don't know the exact structure, but at the riding, at the place where they have their Supercross tracks and all that, Michael Byrne is their coaching, and it's a whole environment, a whole ecosystem that you build around you with the right people. And so that, Michael probably plays a role in the success of those guys, that ride there also. I was retired for a while, started a family, and I remember my old business manager, Dave Stevenson, just saying, "Hey, you got to get busy doing something. You don't want your kids to just see dads at home all day, and like goes plays golf and rides dirt bikes and goes to the river, And then the fear of complacency set in, and it was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I tried TV. Before that, I tried TV in 2002, and it went, or 2003 maybe. It went really crap. Maybe it was 2004. I don't know. Ricky was on Honda. But there was always, in me, there was always this calling, this like magnetism towards the broadcast, which is currently with the speech impediment my whole life, and I've stuttered, and I still stutter to this day. Sometimes I'm conscious enough to keep myself from doing that, and sometimes I'm not. But I always had this desire to want to join them, and that opportunity wasn't there, you know. And so I got busy, did some work with Fox Racing and some things like that, and just something. You know, Daddy has to go to work each day, you know, and keep in mind, you know, when I started broadcasting, Daddy goes to work and he's gone 3 or 4 days and then he's home. So a little bit different structure there.
Sure.
But, you know, it's difficult because Daddy was a real mentor to me in that way. And he's like, you know, you may do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things before you land on something that really is that. My ex-wife's grandmother, Nanny, R.I.P. I remember I was like 30 years old, and she's like, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm nothing. I'm retired. I've already done what I did." She's like, "Bullshit! You're 30 years old. You're not retired." I'm like, "Really?" And now I'm 23 years later. It's like, holy shit! If I had done nothing for the last 23 years, like what a waste of a life that is.
For sure.
It's like, dude, I'm 53. I feel like I'm 33. I still got another 23 to go.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like not giving up. And some of my inspiration, some of the great entrepreneurial books I've read, like Richard Branson or even Trump and different entrepreneurs, like, man, once you're digging in and you're just making shit happen, dude, who wants to, like, you know, we're not stopping, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so that's why the broadcasting has always been really important to me. And it's really frustrating that right now that I don't that I am attached to, because I really, really value what the position of being the color analyst on the broadcast are. I like the work. I like the mental space that it puts me in. I like being connected to the racing that way and then connected to the fans. And so when I started broadcasting, that was a second career for me. It's an extension of being a racer. And I've said this before, I'm more proud of what I have accomplished as a broadcaster than even my racing. You know, there's no like championships attached to it. Yes, we've won, the TV crew won some awards and some Tellys and stuff like that. But I think for me to overcome my speech problems and to broadcast for as many years and many races as I did was, for me, I'm more satisfied with that than I was even racing. And I've always had this sort of goal in mind. And I'm going to tell you, this is a story from the year that Ricky Carmichael was inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame. You guys on this podcast. So let's see, what would have been 2008? I mean, he certainly was the first ballot.
Yeah,
Hall
that sounds
Famer, right?
Yeah, I think so. 2008.
Yeah, nobody else was available that year, I guess. You know? And that year they had the in Las Vegas before the wouldn't have been the Monster Energy Cup. I guess it was maybe one of the last years for the U.S. Open, something like that. And part of the night's festivities, along with the yearly Hall of Fame inductions, is they did a special recognition for Torsten Hallman, who I had worked with. You know, obviously was thankful to work for his company for 10 years. And then also Mark Blackwell. And these two gentlemen that night were recognized on like another level. So there's the Hall of Fame, there's this extra level that they were both already in the Motorcycle Hall of Fame, but now they were recognized for additional contributions to the sport of motorcycling. Justin couldn't be there, so he did a filmed video. What do they call it? Acceptance speech.
Yes.
Extremely moving, like really, really wonderful man. And then Mark Blackwell was in attendance. And I didn't know Mark at the time. We had probably crossed paths and said hello to each other. Maybe I shook his hand at that point, but I didn't know Mark like I do now. And it just resonated with me. Like, there's so much more work to be done. There's so much more contribution. And Mark, after having a championship pedigree as a racer, did a number of different things in the motorcycle industry, from like the Suzuki motocross schools, and then his contributions in business with Polaris and then KTM Group and all this other stuff that he's done. I got to know him in 2016 when we founded, along with John Eric, the United States Motorcycle Coaching Association.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to work weekly, almost daily, work with this gentleman that was like an inspiration to me, like a hero to me, and this beacon where it's like, whoa, there's a lot more to do in your career than just racing. And then I got to know Mark and you know, actually be mentored by Mark through our work, you know, with motorcycle coaching and USMCA. So, you know, once I understood that there's just more work to be done, then that's where my drive is now. And the motorcycle still grounds me. Like, it's still something that I love to do. And I'm much more in touch with.
Oop. Are you there, Jeff?
You still there?
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, I'll just repeat, like, the motorcycle is still what really grounds me.
Yeah.
And I find that I'm much more in tune and in touch with all the brands that I represent, the products I make, the products have my name on them, the fans, even the pro racers. And so when I do broadcast, it's like if I'm riding during the week, I'm able to put myself on the bike inside the helmet with the rider, so much more important. So it's like, it's still, once again, it's still about the motorcycle. It's about being on. And I'm not ready to give that up anytime soon, I guess.
I think that's a fantastic answer. So Eli Tomac, I'm sure you're listening right now. There you go, man. It's the work is not done yet. I love it. We're going to wrap this up. We have one YouTube listener question, and then we'll let you go.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, Jeff, when you earlier at the beginning of the interview, you were talking about, you know, your amateur days and stuff. And there was a question about racing, you know, a couple of guys like Donnie Schmidt and a few others at the Hot Dog National in Columbia, Missouri. They just
Hot Dog Shootout.
Yeah, the Hot Dog Shootout. Some of the guys
hungry.
are from there, and just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, the Hot Dog Shootout was great. I mean, I think that I raced it in like 125 Expert one time. My older brother rode 125 Expert, 250 Expert, all that with those guys. And I was still on the 80s and you know, on the Super Minis. But unless you've been to Finger Lake State Park and enjoyed that place, I hear that it's still there. I assume UTVs have just clobbered the place by now. But it was such a fun place to race. And sometimes you just don't know how good you have.
You cut out again. Bro.
Uh-oh.
Are you there?
Yeah. So sometimes you don't know how good you have it, and then we lost you.
Yeah. Sometimes you just don't know how good you have it, you know, until it's gone. But it was super fun track and such a great regional event. And as a younger kid, I was so excited to see the 125 experts and 250 experts. And I mean, all the guys from Texas would come up and all the guys from Iowa and Nebraska and of course Kansas and Missouri. It was the Hot Dog Shootout was normally at the end of summer, maybe, correct?
I don't know. So we'll have to get our answer back from our listeners.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
But, dude, this has been a blast talking to you, Jeff. I really appreciate you coming on and giving us about 45 minutes of your time tonight. It means a lot to us, and it's been a lot of fun. Got a lot more questions, but we'll have to do this again sometime.
Definitely. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And thanks, everybody, for listening in here. And hopefully I'll see you at the track soon.
Yeah, go check out the viral goggles. Check out ODI grips. Just check out everything Emig's got going on.
Got a bunch of stuff going.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff, man.
Just hit up my Instagram. You're going to see it.
There it is. Well, hey, thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, Jeff. Bye. Jeff Emig tonight, brought to you by Blood Lubricants. That was cool, man. It's a bummer the audio was going in and out, but you could still get a pretty good idea.
It wasn't too bad until the end.
Yeah. That was fun. I think I still, like I said, I have a list of things I still want to get to. One of the questions I wanted him to answer, I was going to say, out of a lot of your competition back in the day, McGrath, LaRocco, Bradshaw, build me your perfect rider. Like, what would you take from
Each one
of those guys?
that'd be cool.
But it was just getting long, and I felt like we needed to let him go.
Yeah.
So, Jeff Emig, first time on. Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, cool.
He was being modest, dude. He was ripping that Billa. He was so fast.
He was even saying that day, like, I'm just still haven't been riding much. I'm still slow. To him, it probably does feel slow.
Well, I know, but the point that I was trying to make for the people that haven't seen him ride, or it's like you watch people and you go out to a track and like, oh, that dude's fast, and then you see like someone ride, even if it's been 20 something years, that was a champion, a multi-time champion, and you're like, it's just it has a different feel to it. You're just like, yeah, okay, I see the
talent's still there.
Yeah, it's the talent. It's the talent that you see.
Sure.
Anybody can be fast, but when you see like, oh yeah, that dude won a couple titles. It was
for sure.
Yeah, it caught me off. It didn't caught me off guard, but it was
just
like,
impressive.
It was like, that's okay. We're doing that. We're going that fast, huh?
All right, it's time for the EVS. Generally, the picks for the next round. There's no race, so we're gonna hit two more questions that we have from emails and stuff. But over the past 39 years, EVS Sports has established itself as the leader in innovation and technology when it comes to designing protection gear for today's motocross riders. Athletes like RJ Hampshire, Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Norn, Axel Hodges, and Travis Pastrana all wear EVS when they race, ride, or whatever Travis decides to do that day. Check out EVS Sports, evs-sports.com. Use the code VitalMX30 to save. Go check out the new Axis Web Eclipse knee braces. They have the TP199 and the Slaco 96 knee guards. Those things I like for pit bike riding, as I've said. Lots of cool stuff. Technical undergear. They just sent me some other technical undergear riding socks, like the tall socks that come all the way up to your ball sack, basically, for like knee braces and stuff. They sent me a couple pair of those. I love those. So thanks to EVS. Go check them out. All right. So I want to go back to, we're going to do this, one of the emails. We'll do this as an EVS question. It's kind of funny. I wasn't sure if it's really appropriate for the show, but we always do these weird things anyways.
I marked the not made for kids. You're good.
What?
On you, when I made the broadcast, I selected not made for kids.
It's just, what would you want to do if you were able to be the opposite sex for 24 hours? What would be the first thing you would do? I feel like a lot of that's pretty obvious. Yeah. But okay, let's aside.
Well, hold on. That's actually a good question because I don't know. Like I'm still like my dude brain.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let's take the weird. Well,
I don't want to. I don't think I would want to be penetrated. That would just that would be weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair.
Yeah. Just play around. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I think I would like to be able. It's gonna sound so freaking weird. I want to experience them having a period, so I can relate to what they're feeling, or something along those lines. Something that they have to deal with.
Isn't the closest thing getting getting hit in the nuts really hard, but it lasts for a long time?
I don't know. I want to experience something where they're where as guys we go, oh, it's probably not that bad, and be like, or okay, even if you take that weird thing aside that I just said, maybe you go like they're expected to always be pretty, or they have there's expectations put on women that maybe aren't put on us to maybe experience something like that. So I can go, oh man, I'm kind of a dick. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts.
I'd be like,
does that make sense what I'm saying? A little bit? No.
Are you just a girl? Are you just turning into a woman? Or
You're
just
a woman for 24 hours.
Attractive woman.
It doesn't matter.
It does. It really does.
Okay. Well, I just said I want to experience the negative stuff they experience so I can maybe relate better.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know. This might this might be bad, but I feel like especially if you were to turn into an attractive one for the day, I feel like you'd be like, this is it. This is all they have to do. Like, this is easy. Like, I don't know. I might be dead ass wrong.
I see what you're saying. Like everything gets done for them.
Yeah, it's like, let me open that door. Oh, no, nobody opens the door for me. Like, or like, oh, let me buy that. Let me buy that coffee for you. Like, do you want a drink? Like, that doesn't happen.
I got the dinner, no problem.
Yeah, Can I buy your dinner?
What about you, Jeremy?
Here's a car. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are pretty much.
Oh, no, I know what I would do.
Okay.
I would OnlyFans and stack some cash.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just make
24 hours. I don't know if that's enough time.
You make a bunch of videos.
Yeah,
like you spend all 24 hours making videos,
okay.
and then you slowly release them over time.
Genius.
Making money
that
over
is
here.
the smartest thing you've ever said.
Yeah, it's like, well, do we have daddy issues or not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I hope not.
What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, you guys pretty much nailed it.
Okay. All right. There's.
Hey, that's actually a good question though. That's funny. Yeah.
I do want to jump back also to highs and lows because I forgot that Faith had sent an email.
She mentioned that.
Yeah, she said her highs were RJ finally winning a championship. Low, for the first time since 2023, I won't be attending any nationals this year. I am hopeful that me and my dad and maybe even my grandparents, they moved to Mesquite a few years ago. I think that's Mesquite, Nevada, not Texas, can go to Vegas, SMX. High, Tom Vial winning. As much as I wanted Hayden to win, I knew that he didn't put himself in the best situation at some of the races, the Hammaker situation in particular, which cost him a lot of points. Low, it's getting warmer in SoCal, and I don't like it. So thanks,
Faith was pretty bummed that Eli's not going to be at the first couple rounds.
Yeah, that's a bummer too.
I think we all are pretty bummed.
Thanks
I agree.
Thanks for sending the emails. Again, it's motoxpodshow@gmail.com. Really would like to have more of these questions, more comments.
TJ said, I would want to see how much more I suck at riding a dirt bike.
If he was
a chick.
I don't think he can suck much more.
Yeah.
He doesn't even really ride dirt bikes. I mean, he just rides.
He'd be sucking.
He rides pit bikes and electric bikes. It's kind of lame. I think we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Yeah, good show. Yep.
I want to thank Race Tech and Yamaha Motor USA. I want to thank Guts Racing, FXR, X-Brand.
Hashtag get Taya socks.
ProX, EVS Protection. We're not doing this anymore. Evans Coolant.
It's its own movement
Blood
now.
lubricants, Barnett clutches. Yeah, we've had emails. He's
dude, it's a movement now. You're screwed, dude. I'm sorry.
Who's the favorite guest?
Who was the favorite guest?
Yep.
Probably Emig, unfortunately, even with the bad phone signal. Well, I said unfortunately for the phone signal, but yeah, Emig would have to be it.
Yeah, that was good. He gave a lot of insight.
I'll give it to the local. John?
All right.
Short.
Yeah, John sucks. But I want to thank Jeff Emig, Pierce Brown, John Short. I want to thank the two of you for coming in studio. As of right now, we're having a show next week. There is a possibility I could leave for California a little early, but we should be back. Anything from you two before we go?
Nope. Yep. It was a good show.
Good show.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're out.